lit chandeliers glow. We'll sip our worries away, nice and slow. Your laughter ripples like sweet warm wine. In this jazzy sultry space you're mine. The saxophone croons a velvet tune, while melodies dance beneath the moon. We'll toast to moments both grand and small, in this hazy, lazy, jazz-touched hall. But let's sit together in the mellow night. We'll drink to love till the morning light. Every glass we raise a promise true. Here's to the magic in a drink with you. Your eyes, they sparkle with every click. Sweet rendezvous over a simple drink. We'll share our secrets in whispers low, just you and me where the jazz flows slow. The world outside fades into the mist, but here it's our own dreamy tryst. With each sip our worries drift away. Let's stay together till the break of day. So let's sit together in the mellow night. We'll drink to love till the morning light. Every glass we raise a promise true. Here's to the magic in a drink with you.
The following live stream has been approved for appropriate audiences. It may contain occasional strong language and may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer inebriation is advised, though not mandatory.
Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome to Last Call, where we come together to celebrate the good and commiserate about the bad. And tonight we are talking about the bad. Bad films we've seen and just hated. The worst films we've ever seen, at least in our opinion. And I don't mean so bad it's good. The schlocky, laughably bad that are fun to watch because they are bad. I mean bad, and we didn't enjoy them at all. Oh, we're gonna need an adult libation or two for this one. So top off your glasses, tell me what you're sipping on and what the worst film is you ever saw in the chat, and we'll roll this Canarble Wagon right now.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
Very sorry, I was muted. I was muted and Boomer wasn't. Yes, Boomer, we can hear you.
Okay,
give me just a second.
So
Boomer.
I'm guessing now the audience can hear us. So you want to start your...
Yeah, so I'll start all over again. Salud, welcome. Yeah, you guys have probably even been typing. Can't hear you. So I know, for example, I know the Culture Casino has switched to using EV Mux as well. And I'm starting to see some of the mistakes that he makes, and I'm making some of the same ones. It's just a learning curve. It's different, right? You know, when you switch from a Mac to a PC, or you move from one editing software to another, you know, they all basically do the same thing, but in a completely different way. And I'm still learning, so bear with me. So, like, for example, this is a feature that StreamYard doesn't have, but EVMux does. You guys can hear Boomer right now, but I haven't brought him in yet. But that's fine. That's awesome. That's a nice feature, because I like the ability to be able to take us out if we want full screen for, you know, showing something.
You gonna introduce me now?
Yes, I am going to introduce you. These pretty blue words over here that say Netters Network. That's Netter of Netters Network. How you doing, my dear, and what you sipping on?
I'm doing fine. It's Friday. Got some interesting news at work. Well, first, I'm drinking pineapple juice just because I want to finish up the bottle. Okay. So I had gotten some interesting news at work. I had my regular weekly one-on-one with my boss on Thursday, and she said there's some changes coming in the company. Apparently, I'm sliding over to a different manager. So today, I had the meeting where they have the warm transfer, and I like the person that I'm going to end up under. And my initial thought when I was told this is like, okay, I've heard things like this happening. Are they sliding me into a new department because it's one of those things where, because I'm older, they're trying to like get rid of me by handing me off to somebody else? Because, you know, things like that happen. And then I found out that a couple other people in my department are also going on to the same manager. So I'm like, okay, so it's not like we're just relocating you because, you know, you're getting older and we're hoping you're going to get bored and quit type of thing. It's you three work on things that are kind of related, so we're going to put you under this guy because more fits alignment with him.
So is it basically your whole like department or group or whatever?
Okay, in my department there's, well, the boss,
right?
My now old manager, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 of us under her. 3 of us are going over to this other manager.
Okay.
And the new manager, really nice guy. I've been working with him since day one, since I started. Really sweet guy. He thinks the world of me because I've always made magic happen with codes and stuff.
Good.
But it's just kind of like a little weird because now we have changed any process documents that we have with my boss's name on it to his name.
Understood.
Which isn't going to be a lot.
Anyway, this is why we have
Fridays.
Last call, and this is why we.
And there's no alcohol in my drink yet.
Yet. She may add some Bacardi in a bit. But speaking of
Malibu,
what we're oh right, Malibu. Here we go, because I figure if I'm drinking, I might definitely need a designated driver, even if he is driving a tractor. Welcome, Major Boomer. How you doing? What you sipping on?
I'm doing fine. I am sipping on a hot chocolate because it's going to be getting pretty cold here in Florida tonight. It's going to get to the 30s.
Wow. Yeah, you're as cold as we are. We're at 20 right now.
It's Swiss Miss hot chocolate.
There you go. And speaking of chocolate, guess what we just finished today?
What?
The little chocolate shells that you sent them.
Oh, I'm glad you like them. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a Florida
that is a good chocolate. It is a really good chocolate.
I did get, I got a couple things from my sister from them too. I got some fudge, which I haven't finished yet, and a dark chocolate alligator, which I'm going to have to try at some point. Yes.
I mean, is it literally like chocolate molded like an alligator?
Like an alligator, like a little alligator, because it's Florida. Gators are big.
Of course. Well, that gator bait, let me tell you, that stuff was gone in days. I mean,
that's why I get you 2 bags, because I figure one for each. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I still ate more than I should have. But anyway, okay. Let's start saying hi to the chat, starting with haven't seen you in a while. The Smoke Eater, Luddites are us. He says, I'm not going to be able to see this one, but I promise you that no matter what you pick, and I will check, I can beat them. I'm sure you can. He says, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan blockbuster Iron Mask isn't even near the top of my list, mind you. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
I've been meaning to watch that because apparently it's supposedly a follow-up to The Forbidden Kingdom, and I really liked The Forbidden Kingdom. But this one looks terrible, and I want to pretend it doesn't exist. But yes.
Yeah. And so I did tell him that, to be honest, there is one I might bring up as a bonus. I didn't send it to you because I didn't want you to accuse me of cheating. If we have the time.
Man,
I really don't remember anything about it other than I hated it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, if we get to it, I'll consider it a dishonorable mention. And then Big Al Presents says, hello, friends. Hope you have a great time talking bad films. We'll try to be here, but it's been a long couple days, and it's got me worn out. One to think about, Highlander 2, The Quickening, to which I said, hey, no spoilers. Welcome, Space Fraggle. Good to see you, my friend. He said Time Bandits. I used to like Time Bandits. Time Bandits was one of those films, if you're our age, when cable TV was coming into vogue.
I love that movie.
That one was kind of on the rotation. You saw that one over and over again with another movie that we're going to be watching on Netters Network in the next couple weeks, Firefox. Remember that one with
I need to still watch Firefox. I'll put it on my docket to watch.
Well, watch it with us I think it's in a couple weeks, right?
Well, we'll see.
Firefox, I'll tell you.
She'll look up when it is because she's already made the streams.
Yes, I have.
But I'm very proud of her. She made the thumbnails and everything. She's
okay.
Really
Firefox will be March 1st.
March 1st. So March 1st on Netters Network, you can watch Firefox with us if you want to. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of those. We talked about that before when we were talking about cable TV, and they didn't have all the movies that you have now. They only licensed so many, and they'd play them kind of over and over and over again. So, but Time Bandits was one of them, and I kind of liked that movie, especially because you recognize all these people, like I think they hired every little person in the UK. That was in acting. So obviously, Ken Baker, who played R2-D2, and a bunch of other rather famous little people. What's his name? Who played the bad guy? He was the MCP in Tron.
David Warner.
David Warner.
I like Time Bandits, but
he was evil. Or the personification.
He was evil. No, that's what he was.
That's what he was. I couldn't remember if his name was evil or what it was, but
evil. That's what he is. He's
right.
He's the latest invention of the Supreme Being, and when they asked him why, I think it's got something to do with free will. That's what the Supreme Being says, which doesn't make it. Oh, Sean Connery.
It was a lot of fun. It's that British. Almost Monty Python-esque kind of humor. Well, of course,
it's Python adjacent. That's how I look at it.
Because it wasn't Terry Gilliam. Terry Gilliam,
John Cleese shows up. I think.
Right.
A couple other.
In fact, doesn't John Cleese have a recurring role in the film where it's like they're implying like some sort of reincarnation kind of thing?
No, you're thinking of the other Python actor. I don't want to say not Eric Idle. It was another guy that was on.
No. It was.
They have a similar look, him and Cleese, but it's a different actor.
I know who you mean. Yeah, and I'm drawing a blank.
The one who was married to Shelley Duvall in all the time periods, and then you have.
Yes.
But John Cleese played Robin Hood, and I love how all the merry men are these scummy.
That's
probably what they really would have looked like in the medieval ages. Really,
right.
And then Robin Hood comes out, and he looks like Errol Flynn, with the pointed hat and everything. I love it.
Do you mean Terry Gilliam?
No. Terry Gilliam was the one that wrote it. It was.
I could find out probably.
It's gonna drive me crazy because he's like the third one you usually.
It's like the third Python. I know.
Right.
Monty.
Yeah, if you can just get a list of them and rattle them off. It just wasn't Eric.
Terry Jones, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Terry Gilliam, Graham Chapman, Michael Palin,
Michael Palin.
Michael Palin. That was it. Yes.
You mean from A Fish Called Wanda?
Yes, he was Ken coming to kill you. Yes, that's right. Absolutely right. Oh, see, and it's these synergies that sometimes make some of these movies so
he's
great.
My favorite.
I know, right?
I want to preface our list. We may have movies on our list that, like Space Fraggle Time Bats, that you may like and you may disagree with us, and that's okay.
I was very careful to point out these are our opinion. Oh, wait a minute. He also said King Ralph, starring John Goodman, another film that's mostly British cast because it's of course about like the royal family all gets killed because they're all in the same place having a
John Goodman
photo taken and they get electrocuted, which I think inspired one of the possible assassination methods you can use in the game Hitman.
Of course,
but they look for a successor to the British crown, and they find an illegitimate heir in the United States. And of course, it's John Goodman who has no class at all, and he certainly doesn't understand, the decorum of the British aristocracy. And as I recall, there was a heavy who was hoping that if he could get King Ralph to abdicate his throne, he would be the next person in line or something like that.
I think it ends up going to Michael York at the end of it, right?
I think you're right.
King Ralph, it went to whoever the butler was because he was really the rightful heir.
But Michael York may have been the one that
was
played
Michael
him.
York even in it? I don't know. I
don't remember.
I saw it.
Alexa, who played the butler in King Ralph?
From mebooks.com. Much of the work is done by the face and body of
Alexa,
Anthony.
stop.
That's not what
you
I
don't
asked
even
you.
know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But what I do remember is that the love interest in that movie, or in that movie was, and I'm forgetting the actress's name.
David Stoll.
Pardon me?
The actor was David Stoll.
David Stoll played the
butler.
The butler. Okay. The girl that played, and I say girl because she was rather young at the time, who played the love interest to John Goodman in that film was Rose's mom from Doctor Who.
That makes sense. Yeah. And she was like a commoner, but he liked her. But you can't marry her; she's a commoner. It's like, oh, come on! It's like,
exactly, and which is going to be the whole crux of it. You have to abdicate your throne if you're going to marry a commoner and everything. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. We kind of got off on a tangent on movies we enjoy, even if you don't. Hail, Connie Cleary, welcome. Glad you're here, as well as Curtis Selby. Always good to see you, my friend. Let me try to get caught up on this chat here. JPRPH1, good to see you. Dropping the membership emojis. Super appreciate that. Just getting around to Netter of Netters Network. Love you, sweetie. Matanui says hi. Welcome, my friend. Jesse Guajardo. What's this song? It's called Let's Sip Together. Sip, S-I-P. Let's sip together.
And speaking of
in fact,
songs,
if you go to my my list of videos, that there is the full version of that song and the closing song in my video list.
And those of you who were on my channel last night got to hear my new theme song.
Yep, Netters Network. It's called Netters Network.
Yes, yeah. And that will be as soon as I get it from my art director.
That's me. It's me.
It will be put on my channel for my members to be able to access.
Yep. And Tim Hayes, good to see you, my friend. He says, "Hail, Papa Pacelli." Yep. Saw you earlier today on. Was that on Culture Casino? I don't know. You said hi to me in one of the chats. Obviously, we run in some of the same circles, which is always awesome. Let's see here. And channel member Mark Dahley. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. And you guys are all saying hi to each other, which is always awesome to see. I appreciate that. And wow, literally, I mean, it's like the closing of the Waltons. You know, good night, Mary Sue. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Ma. Good night, Pa. Good night, Grandpa. Good night. And you get like every possible combination.
Cousin Ernest visiting.
Right.
It should just be Ernest. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Got some good Shiraz to pair with the bad movies. Okay. Good Shiraz, bad movies. I didn't know that was the pairing, but I've learned something tonight. And I saw someone say hi to Charlotte. Is Charlotte in the stream somewhere? Charlotte Nightstar the werewolf?
I didn't see her in your chat, unless she's in Boomers.
Oh, was that Charlotte? No, that wasn't Charlotte. It was sourced. It was a sourced piece of music. And deleted scenes. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. And Daniel Barry's sports highlights. Happy Friday. Hope you've got yourself a good drink, my friend. And Joshua V. Good evening, guys. Welcome. Saw a movie today that would certainly qualify. I'm guessing that there's going to be a video coming out about that, so I'll look forward to that for sure. I feel the worst movie I ever saw was Superman 4. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to disagree with you. I totally understand why someone would dislike Superman 4. I think, Boomer, didn't we talk about that one briefly when we were doing our canon talk?
I know we've talked about Superman 4 before. Plenty of times.
I think, and if someone is willing to buy me a drink tonight, I may, just for Monday night at the movies, do a very special fan edit of Superman 3 and 4, which is better than either of the two movies separately.
Here's what I'll say about Superman 4.
Mm-hmm.
I will give credit that both Gene Hackman and Christopher Reeve are giving it their all. That's why that would not make it on my top 5. It's still a horrible, disappointing sequel, but the actors were doing their best with what they had.
Remember that, and it was not. Was Margot Kidder in the fourth movie?
Yep.
She was in the fourth movie, right?
Yep, and Mariel Hemingway, I guess she was in it too.
Mariel Hemingway, yeah. Which was a missed opportunity, because that would have been a great time to introduce Cat Grant and have her play Cat Grant. But they
I realized that's the substitute Cat Grant. Like we had the substitute Brainiac.
Well, no. In fairness, I do think that Superman 4 came out before the John Byrne era, so Cat Grant hadn't come into existence.
So she was a Cat Grant prototype then. All right.
I suppose.
Okay.
But remember, during the original filming of Superman the motion picture, Richard Donner had his motto, verisimilitude. And all of the actors followed that. They all respected him. Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, Gene Hackman. So when they came back, even though he wasn't directing, they maintained that spirit. Which, let's face it, that's why, I would argue, that's why editing those movies works so well. Because if you trim out the stuff that isn't them, you get back to that verisimilitude feel, there is a comic book adaptation of there's a comic book adaptation of every one of the movies. I have them all, but the comic book adaptation of 3 really does tone down the goofiness of Richard Pryor. And it becomes a pretty darn good story that way.
All right.
I mean, nothing against Richard Pryor. He did what he was hired to do, but it was a bad idea. It's the same bad idea as turning Batman '89 into a camp fest when they got rid of Tim Burton. There's some interesting parallels. We could talk about that another night.
So I sent you those PDFs over MeWe if you want to download those. Or
I just want to make sure I haven't missed anybody real quick before we and if you guys said anything, I don't want to miss anybody, so I'm kind of skimming through to make sure I don't miss anybody. I may miss some of your comments. There's a movie I'm simping on recently. I enjoyed it, but rather not watch the sequel. What's the movie? It's called The Never-Ending Story, which we will be watching on Big Al Presents tomorrow night. And I will discuss...
Yeah.
I
have issues with that movie, but not to the point where I'd put it on a worse list.
I actually really love the movie. That was another one.
Fine if you do. I'm not picking. This is taste. It's the old days when we just discussed taste.
That's another one that got a lot of play, and I'll talk more about this tomorrow night, obviously. That's another one that got a lot of play on cable, and it does something very unique, something that could be considered to be a fifth wall break, and we'll talk about that tomorrow night. So Mark Dahley is bringing up Highlander 2. He is the second person in the chat to mention that one. We'll see. Yeah, Elektra was pretty bad too. There's no doubt about that.
I need to see that. I've been
No, you don't.
Watch it. Okay.
No, you don't. You're better off not having seen it. Barbed wire was so bad, not even Pam Anderson's naked breasts could save it. Well, here's the problem with Pam Anderson's naked breasts. By the time she did barbed wire, she had the
implants.
Augmentation, which made them not as, in my personal opinion, as attractive as when she posed for Playboy.
I didn't hear you say, did you acknowledge Connie Cleary's $2 super chat?
I'm not sure that I've gotten to it yet. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, you also had a $10 super chat from Geek Flag with Nate.
I'll bring that one up right now.
Okay.
One of the worst movies I ever watched is Bad Batch. See, the first thing I think, Bad Batch, that's a Star Wars thing, right? With Jason Momoa, Keanu Reeves, Jim Carrey, and Suki Waterhouse. It's so bad I can't even tell you what it's about. I've never heard of that movie.
Okay, but I'll have to look for it now. Thank you.
If it's one of those ones that's available on
How can anything with Keanu Reeves be bad?
I know.
And Jim Carrey, come on.
Well, I don't know. Cable Guy gets pretty close to bad.
I like Cable Guy.
I like it-ish.
It's fine. Let's move on. Okay. Anyway.
Good evening, Admiral. Everyone she is sipping on a cherry Pepsi. Honestly, I'm not a big Pepsi fan, but I do like cherry Pepsi. It is better than cherry Coke. Just my opinion. And welcome to Kolchak. Kolchak the Vampire Slayer. No, Kolchak. What is it called? Kolchak. What was the show called?
Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker. Right. So, speaking of which, and Kolchak, welcome to the channel.
How far behind we are. He's back to the King Ralph conversation.
Right. Oh, it was Peter O'Toole. Right.
I thought it was, but I don't know.
Kolchak. I have the NECA figure of Kolchak, specifically because I want to use it as a template for a Mego custom of... No. I'm sorry. I take that back. I have a NECA old man from the A Christmas Story, which I am going to turn into a Kolchak Mego custom figure. Just something I do because I'm a weirdo. Mark Dahley, let me read this comment. Hudson Hawk is often mentioned as a bad movie, but I thought it was okay. Mark Dahley, I'll go further than that. I love Hudson Hawk. I did a watch party of that on this channel with Culture Casino. Here's my problem with Hudson Hawk, and it has nothing to do with the movie at all. Although Senator Bernhardt, you could have, done a better casting than her. But other than that, the movie is awesome. The problem was the friggin' marketing. That Hudson Hawk was a screwball comedy in the style of Moonlighting. And they billed it as though it was a heist movie in the spirit of Die Hard. Like it was a serious action film. So if you go in expecting one thing and you get another, you're going to be like, this is terrible. But if you know what you're getting into, or if you went to see it not having any expectation, you're like, this is a pretty good, very funny comedy. God, I love that movie. I love the soundtrack. There's 2 songs on there that are duets. Bruce Willis and what's his name? Danny Aiello. Swinging on a Star. Would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar. And they when they do a heist, they do these songs because songs are a specific length if you sing them in a specific style. So they would grill each other, how long is this song? And they'd come up with how many minutes, how many seconds. Boom, 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 boom. And then if they, wanted to coordinate their efforts when they were separated, they'd start singing a song. Yeah, it's a brilliant movie. I love that movie. I really, really do. He says, Troy, are you talking about bad but still good movies or bad movies with terrible writing? Probably more the latter, because Boomer and I talked about this, and we were like, there's some movies that I said were bad, and he's like, oh, but you like this element of it and that. No. It's got to be a movie we didn't like completely. Geek Flag with Nate Knows. Welcome, Nate. Good to see ya. Can't believe I almost forgot the worst movie of all time. The movie that killed Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Well, we didn't even get into, I didn't. I didn't even get into, like the past, the recent deconstruction of our favorite franchises. I kind of make a nod to one of them. We'll get to that. And I'm sorry, I'm going to blow past a lot of these comments. I'm going to miss a lot. Superman 4 says Connie Cleary. Yes. So you know what? I think based on that, I think on Monday I'm going to do a watch party of the Superman 3, Superman 4. It's the fan edit is called Superman Redeemed. So think of it as an alternate Superman 3. Real life issues and Superman don't mix because there's no good answer to the question, why doesn't Superman just put an end to it? Well, it's funny because there were 3 DC Comics oversized comics. They were like real big. I think they were like 11 by 17 size. I guess you'd call them mini graphic novellas or something like that. One for Superman, one for Batman, one for Superman, one for Batman, one for Wonder Woman. And it was trying to remember, it was Hope, Justice, and Peace. And I believe that peace was... No. Hope was Superman, justice was Batman, peace was Wonder Woman. Basically, the big three trying to bring about these big changes in the world. Superman's was he's trying to end, as I recall, he was trying to end hunger in the world. So for one day, all he did was try to feed the world. And what he ended up running up against was a lot of corrupt governments that use famine and hunger and so forth to control their populace. So he'd bring enough food to feed everyone in the country, and he'd be met with the army of the dictator. And they said, look, this is our sovereign country. Unless you're planning to take over this country, that food will not go to the people that you want it to go to. And if anyone goes after it, we will shoot them. And so he rounds up all their weapons and, prevents them from shooting anybody. And they're like, well, then this food will just sit here and rot. And, you can't do this every day. And he basically realizes, unless he wants to become dictator of the world, they're right. He can't stop them. It's basically it's a much better story, but it gets at the same idea that Superman 4 kind of does. Superman 3 featured the lovely Annette O'Toole. That's absolutely right. It's Lana Lang, who would later be cast as MILF Kent.
All right.
And if you are a big Annette O'Toole fan, make sure you see the movie Cat People. That's all I'm going to say. And don't watch it on videotape. You'll wear out the videotape in that one section. Right. I'm within throwing distance. I got to be careful.
Anyways, don't forget I have to work in the morning.
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Right. It's okay. I'm not going to throw anything at you.
Karen Owen. Yeah, that's right. Karen Owen. The Cars and things were cool for 9 years. Oh, Cars, the movie. Absolutely. And welcome, Karen Owen, channel member. Super appreciate you being here. Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank. Celebrates 7 months of membership. Thank you, my friend. Still fresh in my mind because of the potential it had for the first few minutes. 2021's Mortal Kombat honorable mention. He-Man live action with Dolph Lundgren. Yes, absolutely. After watching with Aged Sense, same issues as FMR. Sorry, I don't know what that is, but awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. Yes, he is one of the VI. He and Deleted Scenes get to go into the VIP room. They are really the ones keeping the lights on around here. The Bad Batch is on Netflix. It is damn near unwatchable. I don't doubt that for a minute. Absolutely. And I'm skimming through to the end just to make sure I hit everybody, and we are caught up. Wow, the chat is really jumping tonight, and that is not a bad thing. I super appreciate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And this probably isn't how you intended it to go, but it's the best I think I could do on my side. So did I
Troy is
I gotta
sharing a screen. Wait,
and
bring
then
it
I
up.
gotta do. No, that's not what
are you
I
doing.
Want to do. I certainly don't want to do that. Holy crap! I'm trying. What the heck? Where is it? Where is it?
It's right down the bottom, man.
Oh, I see. I got to do the
spotlight on it.
There we go. There we go.
Now we don't see ourselves.
Does it matter? I mean, it's not like your camera's on.
It's like a dark void. Anyway, all right.
That's okay. Let me get rid of that.
Thank you, Geek5, for the generous donation. Okay.
And so we're going to look at the worst movies for Boomer and I, what our opinions.
So you're gonna go first, I believe. If you picked A, we're gonna go for you. Okay, so go to the right. Troy's pick. Oh, we're scrolling down. It's weird. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Troy's pick. It's all right.
Like I said,
it's all right.
what I gotta do. So this is my pick. Ha ha ha! Twilight. Okay.
Yes.
So
there are more images too, if you want to look at them.
Netter picked up.
I read all the Twilight books.
You read all the Twilight,
which was the most insipid drivel I've ever read, and I'm a book lover, so it's hard for me to find a bad book. This was a bad series, and not only was this a bad series, I decided, okay, let me see what the movie's going to be like. They tried to squash all 4 books into one film.
What?
And I mean, well, the way that they did it, it was supposed to be book 1. There were elements from book 2 and 3 in there.
Oh.
And things that never happened at all in any of the books. It's like, what the frick am I watching? I hated this movie, which is probably why Troy picked
How
it.
did you, and you didn't like the books either.
I thought the books were insipid drivel.
Yeah. The fact is that my understanding, and I didn't read these books.
I read the first one.
After she told me how bad they were, I didn't bother.
They're not good, but they're not for me.
Yeah. Well, no, and see, that's just it. These were
teenage girls.
Adults.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
young adult.
And I kept hoping that the books would get better, because sometimes like you'll watch a TV series, maybe the first episodes isn't all that, and then it starts getting better. No, these didn't get any better. Sparkly vampires, just no.
Yeah. Glad I skipped this series. F that movie. F these movies, absolutely.
And apparently a mortal girl can get pregnant by a vampire. How that works is beyond me.
Well, I will, that is the one maybe thing that I will kind of get, and I'll get to that in a second.
Is that playing with your food?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Gosh.
Okay.
You're giving me visions of American Pie,
How was Kristen Stewart in this, though? And there are more images. If you scroll underneath, you'll see other images from the movie.
Oh, she cannot act.
Yeah, that's the other problem. This girl, I'm sorry.
They could have put a cardboard standee in her place, and no one would have known the difference.
Okay, now this freeze frame is actually kind of brilliant, because that owl behind Pattinson there.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of clever framing. That is kind of brilliant.
But that look on her face, she's like that through the whole flipping movie.
Yes.
Like, I'm drugged or I'm bored or something.
She is the same RBF through the whole film. She really is. I'm sorry, I've never liked this girl as an actress. I'm sure she's a pleasant person in real life. Nothing against her personally, but as an actress, don't care for anything I've ever seen her in.
Here's a good comparison. I don't like Jamie Gertz as an actress either. For those of you who don't know who she is, she was in the movie Twister as...
Oh, I like her,
as the girlfriend to Bill Paxton.
Right.
Or fiance to Bill Paxton. She can't act. She only got the role she did because Daddy paid for them.
Nepotism, yeah. Absolutely.
She was in Lost Boys, another vampire movie.
She cannot act.
Honestly, she was completely forgettable in that movie.
I'm talking here.
I know.
So, Jamie Gertz, in my opinion, is a better actress than Kristen Stewart. So that's saying a lot.
Yeah. Considering how I know how she feels about Gertz. Yeah. So, that's a great point. So here's my problem with the films. Okay. First, I really have issues with, and I've seen some other people mention this, the sparkly vampire and all that kind of stuff. Look, if you are really interested in vampire lore, the first place I would send you is over to Midnight's Edge, where they did a restoration of Nosferatu, Symphony of Terror. It was, and I don't know if it was the first vampire film ever made. It might have been. It was based on Dracula, And there are some elements of it that are actually more true to Dracula than the later Universal film. However, one of the things that was introduced in Nosferatu that was not in Dracula and is not in any of the vampire lore prior to that is the idea that vampires are killed by sunlight. In Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I don't mean the movie, I mean the novel, Dracula is implied to be depowered when the sun is up. He can't do many of his greater powers like changing form and stuff like that. But it will not kill him. And if you watch the movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula, he's out walking around in the daylight, no problem. That concept was introduced in Nosferatu, simply as a movie necessity, so as not to be grotesque and show, chopping off the head and staking the heart. Just, oh, you know what? He's killed by sunlight. If you want to really get into folklore, where that actually comes from, it's actually trolls. Trolls are turned to stone.
Yes.
In sunlight.
In the Icelandic saga of Grettir as Munderson, he fights a troll in it and keeps fighting it till daylight, and then it turns to stone. That's how he beats
There is a Scandinavian film called Trolls. About or is it Troll Hunter? I forget.
Yes.
Someone can tell me. But I saw it. It was brilliant. And I mean, it's a foreign film, so unfortunately, if you don't speak, Scandinavian languages, you're gonna have to read the little subtitles. But I know, right? But it's about a bunch of people that go around with trucks that have UV lights on top of them, and they go around and they find trolls at night and they hit them with the UV light, turn them into stone. It's actually a pretty good movie.
It's like Blade, except with trolls.
Evelyn Hampton said it's called Troll. Okay.
So if you scroll down, you'll see a couple more images. I don't know if you want to, if there are any, look at that. Is that the same expression she has on the whole movie?
I mean, you tell me. Right? I mean, it's like, There's
going to be one more for you. Oh, look, here they are dancing. Huh?
Oh, look, she's so in love. It's the same face. Now, I will not take anything away from Pattinson. He's not a bad actor.
No, he's been in some good stuff, yeah.
I mean, he shouldn't be playing Batman, but, he was really good in the Harry Potter film that he was in.
He was in that one by Nolan, the weird, that was another time travel one about the spy and time travel and all. Anyway, I don't know if you've seen
the one with Idris Elba?
No, it was a different actor. I think Denzel Washington's son, if I'm not mistaken, was in that.
Well, whatever. I don't know. I'm not like a big fan.
I know you're not a major Nolan guy, but it was an interesting.
He's okay, and actually, I kind of do like Nolan. Some of his films, and I'm a little critical of even some of the ones I like, but I don't really have a problem with Nolan. Yeah, this movie, when you get into and look. I know that the girls were all like, team this guy, team that guy, whatever the hell, the Jacob. Vampire, whatever.
Jacob was.
I didn't give a hooey about it. If I was this, and I feel like they were ripping off the Sookie Stackhouse mysteries. To be honest with you, the what was it called? The Southern Vampire series is what it was called. Or I can't remember. Was it the Southern Vampire or the Sookie Stackhouse? Either way, that series of books was actually pretty good, and it pitted the werewolf against the vampire, who both liked the human girl, and she was special for some reason, and whatever and whatnot, and blah blah blah, and this and that. I kind of felt like this one kind of ripped that one off a little bit, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, those were those were more interesting. But
and if you watch the True Blood series, it's based on the book series I'm talking about. But honestly, forget that series. It was good, but you'd be better off reading the books, to be honest with you.
So now we go.
So
to
here's
Boomer's
one for
pick.
you, Boomer.
I'm gonna get Netter upset, aren't
Screw
I?
you! Screw you! I'm gonna kick you off the show, you ass.
Are you kidding me? I'm not even talking about the Daniel Craig one. No, this is my number one, hated movie of all time. And I know there are people that like it. I don't get it. You think it's funny, don't you? You think
this
all
was
the
the
humor
first
in this...
James Bond film.
No, it's not the first James Bond film. You're
Isn't
thinking
it?
of a made-for-TV Casino Royale that was made in the 50s.
Oh, right.
This is
what was the one with Woody Allen?
This is the one with Woody Allen. This is the one I'm talking about, and I don't care. We all have different opinions. I said.
Wait a minute.
This thing started.
Before you go any further,
yes.
What did you think of Austin Powers?
I love Austin Powers.
Then you should love this too.
No,
this was Austin Powers before Austin Powers.
Austin Powers is funny. This isn't. I'm sorry.
Okay. I hated this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
You hate this one, Netter?
It's so dry and. He tries to be funny, but he's not. He really isn't.
Gosh. Oh my
I thought you liked this one, Netter. I was confused. Okay. All right.
No, I didn't like this one.
Did you know that David Niven was what's his name? The author. What's the author's name?
Dickens?
No, the author of Bond.
Ian Fleming,
yeah. Was Ian Fleming's choice to play James Bond?
No, he wasn't. That's not what
Yes, he was.
I heard it was
who he wanted to play James Bond.
I heard it was Christopher Lee. That's what I heard.
That may have been a choice. That may have been one that he
maybe.
But his primary choice had been
David Niven.
David Niven.
Well, let's scroll down. Let's take a look.
But then after doing this movie, that kind of ruined it for doing, serious James Bond.
Scroll down. So this movie begins with the conceit, the really annoying conceit. It's not a great image, but you have there David Niven with Barbara Boucher. And Barbara Boucher...
I like Barbara Boucher.
I think if any woman ever deserved to be a Bond girl, it was Barbara Boucher. But where she ends up being a Bond girl in this movie.
Man, look at those eyes! My God,
she was in what do you call it? She was in what am I thinking? I'm going off. She plays Moneypenny in this. There's David Niven, who apparently is the original James Bond.
Yes.
Because they make a point that, oh no, you gave my number and identity away to another guy that you're calling James Bond, who I assume is the Sean Connery Bond. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Yes.
I get the impression that the people that wrote this never read a Bond book or saw a Sean Connery movie, or at least didn't do this while sober when they made this movie.
Well, that makes sense. Yes,
I think they were high making this movie. There's this whole thing with David Niven having to go to this Scottish castle, and there are all these Scottish ladies, especially young lasses, and I guess he's either celibate or chaste or something, and he's that's one of his virtues, and they're trying to seduce him, this older man, and these very, very young women, and it's just weird, and these bad Scottish accents, and I'm like, when does the movie start? What is this? And I've seen it before. Let's keep scrolling down. We have yes, Ursula Andress. There are a lot of beautiful women in this movie.
Absolutely.
And she was in Dr. No, the first Eon production James Bond movie, and I get that's why they cast her in this, but still not good. Let's scroll down. Who else we got in this movie? Let's keep going. Peter Sellers. I had heard rumors that Peter Sellers was very difficult to work with on this set. Apparently,
I am not surprised.
Apparently, he punched the director. I heard this happened. I don't know how.
Crap! Talk about unprofessional.
He was married to Britt Eklund. Did you know that?
Well, he did well for himself.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Britt Eklund.
who was in an actual Bond movie, unlike this movie. I'm sorry, this movie starts, and he's another James
I am
Bond.
not saying that this is an actual James Bond movie. This is clearly not canon, but it's a spoof.
Well, canon with what, though? Because this is the first James Bond novel, and this was the first big production adaptation. I guess the rights got sold to somebody other than Eon, and they decide, let's make a spoof. And I sort of understand that conceit. Like, why are we going to step on the turf of this other studio? Let's do a spoof. That's what happened with Night of the Living Dead, how the rights split off, and when they were going to do Return of the Living Dead, they said, let's not do a serious one like George Romero. Let's make it a comedy. And that works with zombies. And you can make comedic spy movies. Austin Powers is a wonderful spoof of the Bond movies.
Yeah.
This is a mess. He's playing another James Bond because there are multiple James Bonds in this movie. And this is where, when I talk to friends here, they're like, oh, well, no, Roger Moore and Sean Connery, those are different James Bonds. And Tim Dalton, they give it to a new, they give the name to a new agent. And that's why they're different actors playing. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. It's just a different actor playing the same character. It comes from this movie.
And you know that whole thing is totally debunked if you watch the films. It's very clear that Roger Moore is in mourning for the death of his wife.
Yes,
when he was played by Lazenby.
Yes, yes. It's obvious that's supposed to be that Bond, but then there are other movies that I feel
there was actually a reference
the
during the Pierce Brosnan era too to those events. So I mean, it's like you're you know, and we'll talk about that more because I got a note out to Michael French. We're going to do the part 2 of our James Bond thing. Yeah.
Let's keep scrolling down. Let's see who else is in this. Orson Welles as Le Chiffre.
Hey, who's the blonde behind him?
I don't know. There are a lot of pretty women in this movie. That's probably why it was made.
Well, I got a type.
The producers needed a... Actually, let's not even think about what happened behind the scenes. Apparently, Peter Sellers and Orson Welles could not be on the same set together.
Oh, crap.
They hated each other. So when they were shooting the scenes and then talking to each other, it's all like cover shots of another actor and then somebody else talking. They were not actually on screen together in these scenes.
I swear, when I hear stories like that, it totally destroys my impression of these actors. It's so unprofessional. It's like, I don't give a crap what your problem is with somebody. You that's your problem. You need to learn to work with people, or you can't work in this industry, you know?
Who was that older British actor that was in Ridley Scott's Gladiator? The one who I always forget. He was in some Hammer movies too, Gladiator actors. He was on a set. There was a not Richard Harris, Oliver Reed. Okay, get this. I'm watching I think it was the Merv Griffin show.
Uh-huh.
And it was Orson Welles, Charo, and then Oliver Reed shows up.
Okay.
And I'm terrified because I'm thinking Oliver Reed and Orson Welles, these are actors these are two men with very strong personalities. True. And it almost seemed like they were going to get into an argument, right, over things. Okay. But then it ends with him saying, but Orson, I think you're brilliant. And that's how that got.
That's a classy way to go with it.
Because I wasn't sure, but that's it for Casino Royale. Watch it it's on Tubi. You can watch for free with commercials. You'll enjoy the commercials more. But again, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's got a great cast. It's got Max von Sydow.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, and maybe I need to watch it again. It is one film that I actually don't have in my James Bond collection. I have all of the James Bond films.
It's not a James
except
Bond
that
film.
one.
Let me explain something to you. I want to make some other. We're going to get to the Notebook in a second. I want to make one other last point about Casino Royale. I was a younger man, and I was trying to catch up on all the Bond movies, and I checked out Casino Royale. I had made it almost to the end, and the little voice inside me said, "Isn't life too short for you to keep watching this movie?" And I stopped, and I didn't watch it all the way through till like a decade later. I couldn't do it, and I got pride out of myself. I didn't care how bad a movie was. I would stick it out to the end. Casino Royale broke me of that. That was the first movie to break me of that. Okay, moving on.
One movie that almost made it, but honestly, I don't think I watched the movie.
What?
The book was terrible.
What?
Ghost Story. Ghost Story has an incredible cast. I never saw the movie because the book was so
We're gonna
terrible.
have to do a rewatch of that someday on your Monday stream. Maybe I'll watch it with you. Okay.
So the
The
Notebook.
Notebook. Oh boy. I've seen this.
So
Yeah.
this almost didn't make the cut for worst film because there are some elements that I do like about this movie. And honestly, it's the what do they call that? The bookends of this movie with James Garner, and I'm unfortunately forgetting the actress who plays the female lead as an older
Rachel
woman.
McAdams. Oh, I forget. Ellen.
Yeah. We did an in remembrance of her when she passed
Yes,
because I was like,
yes.
wow, this is life and art, right? Their part of the story is beautiful.
The old
And
couple.
honestly,
James Garner, I think, is the old man in it.
James
right?
Garner, yeah.
Yep.
If you were to cut out the whole friggin' middle part and just play the beginning and the end, it's a beautiful short story, and I'm in effing tears at the end. It is a beautiful ending to a movie. All the crap in between with Rachel McAdams and
Ryan Gosling.
Beardy McBeardface here.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan, Ryan Gosling. Whatever.
Let's scroll down. I got some images here.
It's a.
There's the old couple. That's what you liked. And she's has dementia. Is that right?
So that's the thing. At the beginning, you don't realize this, but she has dementia and she doesn't know him, and we don't know that he knows her. For all we know, he's just a nice guy who's come to, help out, at an old folks' home or something like that. And it's heartbreaking because you find out that they were married and she doesn't remember him. And it's so sad and so beautiful. And I almost feel like I could do a 10-minute fan edit of this film that is just beautiful and cut out all the back stuff. But here's the problem that I have with this movie that kind of ruins it through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember if she's married to someone else.
No, she's from the upper crust.
No. That I don't have a problem.
She wasn't married to anybody else. I think her parents were wanting to set her up with another man.
Well, that's what it was. She was okay. If she wasn't married, she was engaged. She was engaged.
Maybe that's what it is. And I felt bad because I forgot who played him, but he was like, when she tells him, he says, "You know what? I don't care. I'm still going to fight for you." I thought that was touching by the other guy. That he still wanted to be with her.
Yeah,
but she says,
I still want to fight for you. I have a real. I don't care if you're engaged, if you're married, you're going steady. If you have a commitment to somebody and you're seeing somebody else, fuck you. Fuck you. Really. There is no excuse for that.
Well, I don't remember if that's what happens in this. It's been a while since I've seen this movie.
That's how I remember it. I remember seen it in years.
What I do remember is that I'm seeing Ryan Gosling and them and all this. And I'm thinking, when is the war going to happen? When's the war going to happen? Ding, 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 ding! World War II is on.
World War II,
we have to all go off and fight in the good war. We're fighting off those baddies.
What it comes down to is you can't sell me on a romantic story where you're supposed to side with the other person. The person that they're cheating with. I'm sorry, that is a huge problem.
Well, I will say, I mean, at least I don't think they go all the way with the cheating. It's more like a romantic, but still not cool. I understand what you're saying.
No, I see. I'm gonna push back on that, Boomer, because there's a difference between the way men and women. Well, at least this is the textbook, right? Psychology. A difference between the way men and women look at relationships, right? Men think it's only cheating if they actually have sex with somebody. Women say it's cheating
if it's romance.
If you have an emotional connection with someone else other than them. Personally, I think they're both fucking cheating. Right?
That's
what I say about this movie.
Okay. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. But if I recall, she was engaged to one guy while
Yes.
this dude was hitting on her.
Yes.
She actually broke off the engagement to be with this guy.
No, not soon enough. She was falling in love with him. Right. I say that in inverted commas there. While she was still planning the wedding, going along with it. It was she really did that guy dirty. Is yes. What I'm getting down to. And that
and he was a good sport. He was still going to try to fight for her. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, but
and let's face it, guys, if a woman's doing that, you just say, you know what? I'm too good for this shit. I'm out.
Well, there's another thing too, that Ryan Gosling was a commoner and she comes from money. And she was engaged to a rich guy who actually wasn't a bad man.
Honestly, that is a completely separate element that I don't even care about.
Okay.
You know?
Look, I'm not saying I like the movie. I watched it.
Yes, I'm ripping apart the Notebook, Joe's Atmosphere. I'm sorry if this is a movie you really, really like, but I had some real issues with this film. Troy, you just hit the problem with. Oh, don't even get me. I totally forgot about Bridges of Madison County. Otherwise, that would have been on this list too. Screw that movie. Just I do want to say, hell. At least I like Rachel McAdams. Okay.
Do you know what I've heard? I've heard things. I can't say where I got this information from.
We may have missed the opportunity to say goodnight to Matanui. I'm sorry, Matanui, but have a good night, my friend.
I've heard things about Nicholas Sparks. Okay.
Wait, who's Nicholas Sparks?
He's the guy that wrote the book.
Oh, okay.
I've heard, and granted, I've just heard, this is hearsay, but I've heard it from people that he thinks his audience are idiots and makes fun of them and knows and thinks he just turns out.
Oh God! Don't even. Okay,
I've heard this about him. I don't
now
know
I have more reason to hate this movie. What I will say about this. I really do like the swimsuit she's wearing, although I don't think that it is correctly period appropriate.
Probably not.
Yes, the briefs do cover her navel, but it still should not be a two-parter. That would still be inappropriate.
Dude, this is a fairy story of the 1940s or 90, whenever it is the early 40s. This is a fairy story.
Okay, you can make the argument that this is their recollection of it, and this is
a fairy story for the audience.
And then they were together for decades as a couple, kind of like you and me, until her dementia got the best of her. And
I didn't meet you until you were divorced. So
they both die at the same time at the end of the movie. Am I recording?
Yes, that's what's crazy. They fall asleep in bed together, and in the morning they're both found. Oh, it's just. Yes, like I said, the James Garner and I'm forgetting the actress's name. Their part was beautiful. Cut out that whole middle part, and it's a great movie. But unfortunately, that kind of ruins the movie for me. So there you go. I don't even remember
what
this.
What the heck is this?
This was them looking up at the stars or some crap.
Yeah, just
like
move
that.
on. Move on to the Boomer's pick.
Okay, here we go. Fuck, I don't even know this movie.
You don't know what Spookies is. Does anybody in the
chat
know
I don't, but
is?
I'll tell you, I would probably check this out based on the poster here.
What I really wanted was the VHS cover, which is similar to the post cover, but I couldn't find a good quality image of it, so I went with the movie poster.
That's fine.
This is and based on the poster and the VHS cover, when you're in the mom and pop video store, you see this and you're like, I gotta see this movie. Look at that. Yeah. It's got ghouls and they're ripping this
and
pretty blonde's dress off. This looks like the greatest thing ever made. This is what happened in the 80s with VHS covers. They would lie to you. They would lie to you about
You're not wrong there. Yes, that's true.
I caught this on the USA. I saw the cover actually in the mom and pop video stores, but I would never check those kind of movies out. But then they had it on the USA Network in the middle of the afternoon on a Saturday once. And I think I was in like the 5th grade.
So that meant it was edited to crap.
You would think so, but maybe not as much as you think. You can't.
Oh, this is pretty good.
This what?
This looks pretty good.
It's not good. It's a lie.
Well,
The whole movie's a lie.
looks good. I'm interested.
Okay, so it took me a while to figure out. It wasn't until I saw Phantasm that I realized that this movie is aping on Phantasm. That's what this movie is. So you have this old guy. He's like,
I see where you're going with this.
He's like this ghoul guy, and he's playing chess, and there's this werewolf thing with him, and like he wants to bring his deceased wife back to life. Who's this hot? I guess the hot blonde girl on the cover is sort of what she is.
I see.
He's in the wedding dress, but he has to trap victims in this house. Keep scrolling down. And you have these doofy yuppies, and then you have like this, like I don't want to say
one of the spookies or whatever.
It looks like one of the spookies. Yes, these horrible puppet things, and things happen to me. Then there's a side story about this kid running away from home. Those are the fart monsters in the basement that fart.
Fart monsters.
They're muddy, and they I guess they're made out of crap. They're farting and stuff. This movie has no thread and has no plot. It's just a bunch of stuff that happens, which normally I'd be okay with. I mean, I love The Beyond, and you could argue
it's actually pretty good makeup.
You're seeing all of this, and you're thinking I'm being too harsh. I dare you to watch, okay?
No, I don't doubt you.
This is going to happen someday. We're going to, maybe it'll be Ghost Story and Spookies. Anyway, the images are a little dark here, but yeah, it's just.
No, you're absolutely right. This is, I get this, yeah.
All right. There are all sorts of things happen. Apparently, this was two separate movies that got combined into one. I heard this.
Oh, that's always a problem.
And I think the guy or at least half of it got filmed, and they got some other director to make the second half. And I think he was a guy that made films for an adult audience, so his directorial experience was limited. A contemporary review.
Wait, when did this movie come out?
86.
Okay, yeah. Adult films didn't actually start having decent scripts and whatnot until the late 90s, early 2000s.
Like the more fancier. In 1985, the financial backer Twisted Souls hired Eugene Joseph to direct more footage, which was pieced together with the finished footage. So the original movie was Twisted Souls to create Spookies. The added scenes are written by Anne Burgard under the same other name, Joseph Burgard, features an entirely different cast that includes all the footage of the boy looking for his birthday party, the man in the tree, the cat man, the old magician, the girl in the coffin, zombies at the end of the film, in which the basement cave, and the little blue boy. So all that stuff with the boy was added.
Oh, for crying out loud.
So bad. A contemporary review in Variety referred to Spookies as a silly horror picture whose contains some interesting special makeup effects along with amateurish ones. In his book, Gorehound's Guide to Splatter Films of the 1980s, Scott Aaron Sine gave the film a negative review, criticizing the inept actors, hackneyed script, and hideous makeup effects. And a retrospective review of the film, Megan Navarro of Bloody Disgusting, calls it nonsensical. So it's just bad.
So Mark Dahley says, Up All Night, hosted by Rhonda Shear.
Yeah.
Top-notch entertainment for a college kid. Which I was at the time. Mark Dahley, if you're not following Fanzine, Greg over at Fanzine, he's got an interview with Rhonda Shear and some really great videos about that. If someone could drop the link for Fanzine, that would be awesome. I would super appreciate that, Blue Wrenches. Thank you.
This was probably shown on Up All Night.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
It was on USA in the afternoon, so I imagine either Gilbert Gottfried or Rhonda Shear was playing this movie on one
Gilbert night. Gottfried probably did. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. We have the Grim Reaper with the glowing eyes. And you see this, and you see these images, and you think, wow, this movie's got a lot going on. But it really doesn't.
That's sad, because that just speaks to the potential, right?
There was potential here. And then years later, I saw a movie called Phantasm. Oh, well, that's what this movie should have been. It should have been Phantasm. You want to watch a good version of this movie, watch Phantasm. That's what it is. Instead of the warlock.
Thank you so much, Tim Hayes. You are top notch. I appreciate it. Go check out Mark Dahley, especially. Check out Fanzine's channel.
We should have him on sometime again to talk about stuff.
Yeah, we haven't had him in a while. Yeah, it would probably be a good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, this is spooky. It's just awful. Let's go on to. I should have had an image of someone picking their nose under these pics. Keep going.
That's funny.
All right, go down to. Okay,
this one is not going to take us a very long time. Leonard 6, Leonard Part 6. And honestly, I would be hard pressed to think of and don't get me wrong, put aside all of the Me Too-y type
Bill Cosby
Were there
stuff.
Bill
5 more of
Cosby
these
stuff.
parts that were just as bad?
That's what
I
you wanted
liked
as a kid.
Bill Cosby.
It's funny.
I liked the Cosby Show.
Remember the
I liked
theatrical version of
Bill
his
Cosby himself, his
yeah, the show,
stand-up
that one, that
routine.
was brilliant. I watched that. Yes, yeah.
That I watched multiple times. I laughed so hard. I quoted it so many times. But his movies,
yes,
for the most part, kind of sucked. So another, I didn't want to have more than.
Can I defend one of his movies?
Which one?
The Devil and Max Devlin. I think Elliot Gould was in it.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Okay.
The devil, remember?
No, you're right. You're right about
bad.
that one.
Wasn't bad.
Not bad. You're right. You're right. But it wasn't good enough for me to remember, apparently. See, that's the problem. The other movie that almost made this list was Ghost Dad. And I was like, no, I don't want to have two Bill Cosby films. But
I've not seen either of these.
Both of them, they're just not funny. That's the problem. I don't know anything about the behind the scenes or who wrote them. I don't know if he wrote them. But for someone who had such a funny stand-up routine, these movies just were.
He was number one on TV for years with the Cosby Show. So this is.
Oh, the Cosby Show was great, and a lot of the jokes and gags within the Cosby Show were directly based on his stand-up routine, including himself. You know,
my favorite episode of the Cosby Show was the one with the Muppets. You ever see that?
I don't remember that. No.
I don't, and part of me thinks Jim Henson must have been involved in that episode, but they weren't Muppets from the Muppet Show. But I think it was because Bill Cosby, I don't think ever got the star on the Muppet Show, so this was him making up for that by having him have a bad dream sequence with all these, like the sausage sandwich was just because like he ate a sausage sandwich and was giving him stomach trouble. So in the dream, he's seeing the sausage sandwich, and the sausage sandwich is arguing with him, and he says, "See, I'm disagreeing with you because it was okay." Never mind.
Oh, I do remember this. Okay, yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
But if we scroll down, there'll be images too. But that's a great poster, huh? Come on.
So the reason I saw Leonard 6 at all, again, I've talked about having worked in a video store, and I got the screener for this. The manager, the owner of the business, always gave me the screeners to take and watch, and he'd ask for my opinion on whether or not they should order the film and how many. And after watching this one, I was like, it's Bill Cosby, so I would order at least one. But honestly, maybe not more than one. It wasn't that good. That was my opinion at the time I saw the screener.
What's it about?
I don't remember.
I was watching the Siskel Ebert review of this last night because I'm like, I never actually saw this. And when I watched the review, they said, "Oh, and here we have one of the worst movies we've seen this year so far."
Yes, it was. Look, here's the biggest problem. I can sum up the whole movie for you. It's a comedy that wasn't funny. That's the biggest problem.
Richard Roper once said the most offensive thing a comedy can be is not be funny. That's what he used to say.
That's absolutely true.
Is he like a secret agent or something in this?
Yeah,
but he deals with animals, and he deals with animals, though, right?
Secret agent, it was just terrible. And what
is that a hot dog?
It's apparently a magic hot dog. I don't know.
Maybe it's like one of those Q branch hot dogs that explodes or something.
Maybe. And he
rides
an ostrich. Okay. What the hell, man?
Come on. How bad can it be?
It was. Yeah, I don't really remember it that well. So. Oh my gosh, that's just effing terrible, my friend. That's just.
Now, are you sure it's as bad as you think? Do you ever try rewatching movies you thought was bad and they say, "Let me give it a shot"?
You make a great point. I don't remember. So it might. Although it could be another 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. So maybe it's not such a good idea.
Maybe a Friday night, maybe a Monday night stream sometime if you want to torture.
I don't know. Give me a second. I gotta pull up
part 2.
Gotta pull up part 2.
We got 5 more of these suckers to get through, people. The hot dog does explode, but it just explodes in the Frankfurter pieces, I bet, right?
I suppose.
It's not like Mr. Wizard. Remember Mr. Wizard? He used to cook the hot dogs with electricity with the kid on the set. Remember that?
Is this yeah, this is part 2. Okay, here we go. This is give me a second. Let me share this one. How do I do that? It's no, not play video. Share the screen. Entire screen.
Yep.
No sound because you can already hear us.
Yes. You don't
here we go.
Let's do it.
And
Let's do it.
How do I do this? Oh, there we go. That's how you wanted to do it originally.
Oh, so we can try it this way. Yeah, this might be better. Boomer's pick. This is me next. What do I have next? Oh no. Oh boy.
Yeah, you talked about this one before.
This is the Garbage Pal Kids movie. This is a horrific exercise. This is what happens. I'm curious, when you watched Leonard Part 6, did you watch it in the movie theaters or did you see it on like HBO?
I saw it on cable, yeah.
That's what happened with me. Because what happens, see kids, this is what you don't understand. We have the internet now and streaming, so you get to pick what you want. When we were growing up, you had to watch what was on cable. Now, to be fair, cable was a lot better than what our parents had because you had a lot more choices. You had theatrical release movies unedited playing. So that was pretty good. But then you watch movies that you wouldn't necessarily have paid to see in the theater, but like, well, hey, it's a movie that was just out in the theaters a few months ago, and I can watch it on this thing we're already paying for free. My parents are paying for free, so I'm curious. Let's watch it. And I think I'd watched this one a couple of times. And
it's funny you say that about cable, because I remember prior to cable, back in the 70s, what was it? Pink Floyd. We had 13 channels of shit on the TV to choose from. And I was like, yeah, well, now we have 99 channels of shit on the TV to choose from.
I have no idea how people are going to see our current decade's output of movies. I don't think they'll be kind in decades to come, but we'll see. This movie was lambasted.
As a side note related to that, I do feel that the past 4 to 8 years will be a footnote in history about the woke mind virus. I really do believe that.
It's going to be like that time in the Dark Ages that was never recorded because the sun was blotted out for a number of years and we don't have much history on it.
Maybe.
We just know that it happened because I think a Greek historian and a Chinese historian wrote about the same event. Apparently something happened on the planet that really messed up the atmosphere. We think it was a volcano explosion that kicked stuff up and like blotted out.
Well, when was it Krakatoa or something?
Yeah.
During the late, I want to say 1800s, early 1900s. Maybe it was earlier than that. You can Google the year without a summer. There was a blast from a volcano that put ash in the air that caused changes in temperatures around the world that year. Real bad winter in I'm assuming it was in England.
Europe, they said that you could watch it, but you could examine the tree rings of that era, and they said you could tell something really bad happened in this era in this one tree ring or something.
And that was the year that Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley and Mary Wollstonecraft came together, and they were snowed in basically, and they wrote some great masterpieces, including Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus. But getting back to this, was this a canon film? Just wondering.
It feels like a canon film, but I'm not positive that it was.
This is the stuff.
It was not, but it has a feel of one. Yes.
But in fairness, if you collected the cards or the stickers,
I
Garbage Pail Kid, these absolutely were those friggin' characters on those cards. So whoever it was that dressed these midgets up like this, it was spot on with the source material, let me tell you. But as far as story goes, the story was just a freaking acid trip.
Now, have you seen it or just heard about this movie?
I've seen it.
Oh, you have seen it? Okay.
Once.
I saw it a few times. Oh, wait a minute. You Can Be a Garbage Pail Kid was nominated for Worst Original Song. Look at this
guy. He's friggin' tripping balls.
Wasn't one of them a gator, like an actual gator?
Yeah, this guy right here.
Yes. Let's see here though. But what was it? Garbage Pail Kid was nominated for Worst Original Song, but lost to George Michael's controversial hit "I Want Your Sex" from Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop 2. Interesting. Which was a much better movie than Garbage.
Sex is a great song. I love that song.
The film depicts 7 of the Garbage Pail Kids played by dwarf actors in animatronic costumes interacting with society and befriending a regular boy. Yeah, so I guess it's like this whole like never-ending story type thing where this is the thing in the 80s with some boy befriending the weird kids or the alien or E.T. Maybe it's more like E.T. It's like
I will defend that one element of this, having it be little people in costumes, animatronic faces.
Yes.
And the fact that these characters really were characters from the cards, that part of it was cool. But there ends any element of good about this piece of crap film. Yes.
Yeah, so the kid's in love with this older teenage girl, Tangerine, and he gets the Garbage Pail Kids to design. Apparently, they're brilliant designer clothes makers. They can make great designer clothes out of nothing, and that's a plot. Okay. And look at that! Look at that shirt, huh?
That's pretty much 80s fashion. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness! These are horror. Look at this! You're watching this. There are musical numbers in this movie.
Nightmare fuel.
It is.
There are musical numbers in this movie, dude.
Now, in fairness, the Garbage Pail Kids cards were meant to be nightmare fuel. So.
Well, that's the point, though. The cards are a spoof on Cabbage Patch Kids, and they were good for a lark for the first couple series, and it got kind of old. But for all of us boys that hated the Cabbage Patch Kids, you could buy these trading cards with these disturbing.
You know what actually would have been good is if they'd have done a good Cabbage Patch film, live action Cabbage Patch film.
Yeah.
And then the sequel was the Garbage Pail Kids. That would have been interesting.
Funny. The film was, let's see, reception, according to Wikipedia, film was last.
Hey, now, who's that?
What? That's Tangerine. Yeah, she was, I guess, the love. I guess she's bad, though. And I'm thinking, not really.
She's the Tangerine Dream, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The film was lambasted by critics for its release and widely considered to be one of the worst films ever made. The film holds 0% approval rating and an average score of 2.2 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes. Based on well, she's fashion conscious. Yeah, okay. Metacritic gives the film a score of 1 out of 100, the lowest of the website based on reviews from 7 critics, indicating an overwhelming dislike. Critics dislike the film's rude humor, acting, puppetry, inappropriate moments, the appearance and voice acting of the Garbage Pail Kids, nonsensical plot, and a hypocritical image. I guess because it's like looks don't matter or something. It's what's on the inside that counts.
I'm going to push back a little bit on some of that because the gross out elements and almost horrific elements are very much in spirit of the source material, right? So, I mean, let's be honest about that. I don't think the critics really understood that. But, yeah, this was one of those ones that they got the core of the source material and tried to make a story out of it where there was no story and it made no effing sense.
I mean, maybe this would have been an accurate... I think maybe if Weird Al was in this movie, maybe this could have been something interesting.
Oh, that would have helped.
And like he meets the Garbage Pail Kids. It's like a weird sequel to UHF, but no, because they're apparently aliens from another planet. And I don't know. There was a canceled reboot. In 2012, it was reported that Michael Eisner's Tamanta company had plans to finance and produce a development of a feature film based on Garbage Pail Kids, as Eisner had recently purchased the Topps trading card company in 2007. On July 18, 2013, it was reported that the film was canceled because of negative reception. Michael Eisner was still doing stuff after he left Disney. He was going to make a remake of this.
This was not the thing he should have been doing.
It was canceled in 2013. You know why it was canceled in 2013? Because 2014 hadn't happened yet. 2014 and on, it would have gotten made. Because that's
Yeah,
when all
you're
the
probably
crap,
right.
that's when our
Probably
crappy
right.
age started. If you want to know when all the nonsense started, it was in 20.
Okay. You guys have to understand, between the time that I send these things to Boomer to make up these graphics and the alcohol that I've been imbibing, I have no friggin' clue what's
Let's scroll
coming.
down and find out.
Oh, you should all be pleased by this one, right? Because at least two of you, possibly more, because I've been having a hard time keeping up with the chat. Highlander 2: The Quickening.
I don't hate this movie.
Let me
I know you do, but it's okay.
Let me jump ahead for a moment to Highlander 3. There's actually two versions of Highlander 3. One is oh shoot, it had two different titles. It was Highlander 3 The Sorcerer and Highlander 3, oh, I forget. The important point is that Highlander 3 opens up with a close up on Adrian Lambert, and he's basically doing a monologue where he says, "In the days after the death of my friend Ramirez, blah 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 blah." Right? What he basically is saying is, that last movie, that second movie, The Quickening, forget that shit. None of that happened. We're completely erasing that from continuity. We're skipping from the first movie to the third movie. The third movie wasn't the best,
but it was still
but
made
it was
sense
okay.
in the
If
context.
you liked Highlander the series, then Highlander 3 was like as good as an episode of the series. Okay, it was okay. It was another story about the Highlander. Okay, wonderful. Starring Mario Van Peebles. Okay, which, not a bad deal. Let's face it. When you have an immortal who has two other immortals as his henchmen, and he just turns and kills them to take their quickening at the beginning of the movie, you're like, we got a winner of a villain here, okay? But so what I'm basically getting at is Highlander 3 may not have been the best of the Highlander films, but it was definitely better than this piece of crap.
All right, let's scroll down, pal. We got images to look at here.
Well, wait a minute. Let's take a second here and talk about the
look at
fact
the poster.
that this is a great looking poster, but if you saw the first movie, you're like, wait a minute, Sean Connery? He died in the last movie.
Hey.
His quickening was taken by the Kurgan.
Well, yeah, played by Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown, yeah, yes. Great villain.
Yes. Here's a funny thing about Highlander villains going on to play Superman villains on Superman the Animated Series. That was a thing. But anyway,
yes.
He was Lex Luthor, and the villain in this movie plays the villain in this movie plays Darkseid. So I thought that was interesting.
That's right.
All right, so look at this, huh? This is a Planet Zeist flashback, right?
Oh, Planet Zeist. Planet Zeist.
That's where the immortals come from, Planet Zeist.
The first movie, The Highlander, right? You have this guy, right? Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod, right? He's literally a Highlander. He's a Scottish man in the medieval times, right? And he has no knowledge of any of this kind of stuff until his clan is attacked by the Kurgan. And if you want to know what a Kurgan is, by all means, look it up. There's a historical, the steppes of Russia and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, a big battle, and he dies during the battle. And in the middle of his wake or whatever service they're having for him, he wakes up, right? Because he's an immortal, right? And he has no idea why. He just assumes he wasn't as hurt as badly as he thought. But everyone in his clan thinks this is some sort of devilish witchcraft because you were dead and you came back to life, and they ostracize him and they throw him out, right? And he doesn't understand what's going on. Then he meets Ramirez from Spain.
Yes.
But he's Egyptian.
Well, he's Egyptian, but he...
Who learned metallurgy in Japan, right?
Yes.
Because he's an immortal, and he has decided that he will take on...
centuries. Yeah.
Right. And he decides he'll take on Connor McLeod as a protege, and explains the whole concept of what it means to be an immortal and the game and all of that.
Connor explains.
I'm not going to get too into it because, guys, if you haven't seen the original Highlander, which honestly has got to be a rewatch on a Monday night, definitely going to do that sometime.
Connor explains to Haggis what... sorry, Connor explains to Ramirez what haggis is.
Yeah, that sounds revolting.
Yeah.
But great story. The first movie is just a friggin' classic. It really is. A soundtrack by Queen, right?
Yep.
Honestly, the first movie was so good that when they finally get to Highlander Endgame, you know how movies in a series, some can make others better by their connection.
Yes.
The first movie makes the last movie so good. Mm-hmm. The Highlander franchise goes all higgledy-piggledy and all over the place when it gets into a series. I'm not taking anything away from it.
Including the cartoon. I remember the cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon doesn't fit the canon, but
I know
everything live action fits. The problem is that you got to really squint and turn your head sideways and maybe pull your hat down to make it all work. But if you take the first Highlander film and Highlander Endgame, you kind of need some of the stuff in the middle to understand who Duncan MacLeod is. But big spoiler for the whole franchise, Connor is not the last one. His cousin, Duncan. And Duncan, at the end of Endgame, takes flowers to the grave of Connor and his wife, Heather.
Yes, that was nice.
And through the entire franchise, Connor was every year going and taking flowers to his wife's grave. Hundreds of years, every year, he returned to Scotland to bring flowers to his wife's grave. And then Duncan starts doing it for both of them.
Nice.
That is where it should have ended. All those damn movies after it, No, it's time to reboot. It's time to reboot. I'm not usually a big one for reboots, but this one should have been rebooted. This movie should never have happened. This if, of all the movies I picked, this is probably the worst.
See, I'm going to be the contrarian here, saying that I do not hate this movie like Troy does. But let's move along. Show the images, man. So reasons I don't hate this movie. Scroll down to one peg.
Sorry, I had to mute it. I'm sure you didn't want to hear me blowing my nose.
Okay.
This is probably the best part of the movie.
She's nice in this movie. She's hot in this movie. Let's be honest. I like her.
What's her name? I'm drawing
Virginia Madsen.
Virginia Madsen.
Yes.
Princess Erlon from the David Lynch Dune.
There you go.
And honestly, I've probably seen every movie she's been in. I love Virginia Madsen. Have I mentioned I have a type?
You're sad that she's in this movie, though, aren't you? That's what it is.
Well, she is the best thing about this movie.
What's interesting about this movie, this takes place in a dystopian, almost cyberpunk style future, which I think is interesting. And I think that that's actually an interesting setting for a Highlander style movie, which probably could have been done better elsewhere. But it's an interesting idea that you would have. We have the classic ones in modern times, and then you could do like a cyberpunk Highlander movie where the immortals are in the future, right? Take me to the future. That's what they always say in that song. So here we are in the future.
That is true. That is a good point.
Okay.
The problem is that after you have the first movie where Connor defeats the Kurgan, right, and he's the last,
Yeah.
right. The way that they do the third one is a great one because Mario Van Peebles
Right.
travels forward in time. So by doing that, he bypasses the
rule.
What's it called? Yeah, whatever. So now Connor is no longer the last. There is another.
And he gets his powers back, doesn't he? Because of that?
Exactly.
Yes.
And he knows something's gone wrong. Damn great movie. I think when I do a Monday night, that might be a double feature.
Yeah. You know what I thought was interesting about Highlander 3? He adopted a son. Remember that? I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
And because even though he couldn't have children naturally, he went ahead and adopted a kid, because I guess he was mortal now. So like, I'll try to at least start a surrogate family. That's what I think he was thinking of, right?
Exactly right.
I like that. Yeah.
So, but so that was a brilliant way to do a sequel. If you just kind of forget that this whole thing happened, but this whole idea of future storyline after the prize has been won and giving them an origin. So the original story, Connor asks Ramirez, what is all this? Why are we immortal? Where are all these powers coming from? He goes, I don't know. It's a kind of magic. You don't ask the deer why he can run so fast or the eagle why it can fly. It just is.
No, they're aliens. They're aliens from planet Zeist.
Yeah, now they're aliens from planet Zeist. It's like, really? And somehow you didn't remember this in the last movie?
Anyway, let's move. And apparently he's able to bring Ramirez back just by calling for his help, right? Yeah, that was the thing.
Which is ridiculous, because honestly, his death in the first movie, his sacrifice was so good. And the redemption, right? Okay, so remember, for those of you that have never seen, and I can't imagine there's anybody here who hasn't seen The Highlander. The whole idea is that you have these these immortals in the world. They don't even know they're immortals. Think of them kind of like mutants from the X-Men, right? Mm-hmm. They don't even know they have powers until suddenly they have powers, right?
Yes.
Well, these immortals don't know they're immortal until they die. If they are killed in a battle or something like that, they lay dead for a little while, kind of do a Jesus thing, and then they wake up again.
Yeah.
And now they have all these abilities to know when other immortals are around. They get this weird feeling,
like a spider sense.
And they are pushed to combat these other immortals because there could be only one. And each time you combat one more immortal against another, if they take the head, that's the only way you can kill an immortal is to behead them. If you behead an immortal, all of his memories, all of his thoughts, what they call the quickening, enters you, and you gain all of that. And not just his, but everything he has gained. The idea being that who knows how many immortals there are in the world. When there's only one left, he will remember everything all the other immortals remembered. He will have all of their abilities, all of their powers, everything. So therefore, when Ramirez dies at the hands of the villain, the Kurgan takes his quickening. But that also means that when Connor takes his quickening, Ramirez becomes part of him, which is kind of a beautiful thought when you think about it. And therefore, and I'm sorry, this is spoilers for a 30-year-old franchise, when his cousin Duncan is in the final days of the gathering, and he's been trained by Connor, they're going up against a villain who neither one of them alone can beat.
Yep.
And Connor says the only way we're going to beat him is one of us has to defeat the other and take his quickening. And this battle between the two heroes of the franchise, Connor and Duncan, is heartbreaking because you don't want either one of them to lose. But they have to. And here's the big spoiler. Duncan MacLeod wins, and Connor is the one that forces him to take his quickening. He's like giving up his life to give his quickening to his cousin. So in the final battle, there's this great bit where he's fighting against the bad guy. I don't even remember who the guy was. And he speaks with Adrian Lambert's voice because he's in there. And it's like, oh yeah, oh come on, do it.
Kind of like how Rey was all the Jedi at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, fuck that shit. Fuck that. No, screw that.
Okay, scroll down a little bit though. There's a couple other images here. Now look who's the villain. We have Michael Ironside.
Michael Ironside is the second best thing after Virginia Madsen.
He is the most metal-looking human. Like, when I think of heavy metal, I think of Michael Ironside with the long hair. They did an interview with him.
So let me think.
He was bald in real life, and he said they gave me this wig, and I got to hang out with Sean Connery. This was awesome. That's what he said.
Well, no, I get that. I have always said this, and this is not meant to be a slight to Michael Ironside because he's someone I admire like crazy among actors, but I have always said that I kind of felt like he was the poor man's Jack Nicholson. You can't afford Jack Nicholson, but you want a Jack Nicholson-like character.
Michael Ironside, yeah.
You get Michael Ironside, right? Some of Michael Ironside's greatest roles: Ham Tyler in V, Sam Lane in Smallville, Lois Lane's father.
Yes, the general. Yep.
Honestly, this role that he's in, it's sad that he's in this movie, but he played it well.
This is when he was in the train and he says, and he starts pushing it up because he figures I'll survive this car crash. So he brings the subway train at like 100, 200 miles an hour underground and makes it come up to the surface.
I will say this. What that scene that you're talking about is the use of your immortality kind of in a way that they didn't use it in the rest of the franchise. And it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
If I blow this up, if I just blow up this room and kill everyone in it, I'm going to survive. Right? You know, it's kind of like a video game. Well, yeah. I have plenty of lives left. I'll just set off a nuke, kill everybody, and I'll respawn. No problem. You know, it's the same kind of concept.
Scroll down one more.
Okay. He's nuts.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he chews the scene in every movie he's in, and I love him for it. I really do. I love Michael Ironside. I really do.
He was great as Darkseid on Superman the Animated Series. He really personified that.
I can imagine that voice as Darkseid.
But someone in the chat had mentioned, though, I forgot, I didn't get his name, but he was mentioning how the Jet Li movie, the one, was sort of like a Highlander style movie with him.
Yeah.
And that I think he's killing off other. I think he's killing off other versions of himself to get
the other. Right? The other comparison I would make would be those of you that read the original 12-issue miniseries of Crisis on Infinite Earths back in the 80s, DC Comics. The Anti-Monitor, who was destroying whole universes. Every universe that was destroyed, he absorbed the power of that universe.
Wow, that's not cool.
Nope.
So yeah, let's go. Boomer's pick.
Let's just forget that movie. Screw that shit. Yeah.
All right, let's go down.
Boomer. Oh, you know what? If I'd have thought of it, I probably would have added this one to my list.
Nothing but trouble. Oh boy.
This movie was hot garbage. I saw this movie on videotape and I was like, what the fuck did I watch?
You know this movie, Netter?
This is yes. She saw it too. Dan Aykroyd with a dick nose.
Yes, exactly. That's the one thing you couldn't stop staring at.
Holy crap!
The one funny scene in the movie is when he's getting ready for bed and Chevy Chase is looking at him through a hole in the wall and he sees him take the nose off his face because it's a rubber nose and it's like, oh, and he has this horrible look on his face.
Look, all of these people.
Look at this cast.
Look, Chevy Chase. From everything I've heard behind the scenes, he was impossible to work with and a complete asshole. But I have loved him in every movie I've seen him.
Yep.
Right.
Now, seeing this movie made me afraid to travel outside my little burg.
Right. Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Demi Moore.
Yes.
What a great cast. That in and of itself is why you would watch this movie. So I watched this movie. I get to the end of it. I'm like, the fuck did I watch?
This I saw, I think, on Showtime, and I'm like, I thought, because I was a big John Candy fan back in the day. Dan Aykroyd from Ghostbusters. Demi Moore was eye candy on the screen in this movie, and we have Chevy Chase, and I knew him from the National Lampoon's movies. And it's like
one thing that I think people overlook about Demi Moore,
that
raspy voice of hers.
Yeah,
she's the Bye Bye Baby. For those of you that are big Bruce Willis music fans,
right?
Blues for Mr. D on his album If It Doesn't Kill You, It Just Makes You Stronger. It's a very bluesy kind of Blues for Mr. D, and it's mostly to highlight his harmonica playing. But at the very end, the female vocals, that's Demi Moore singing "Bye Bye My Baby."
She has kind of that like Jessica Rabbit, Kathleen Turner.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, she's pretty enough, but that voice of hers just friggin' amazing.
Let's go down. So there they are.
This is the area rug guy. What's his name?
I forget who he was. They're playing. I think they're from South America, and like he has a bad Latin accent.
He was a stand-up comedian. I loved his stand-up routine, and every movie he was in, I'm like, yeah, I like him in this movie.
So the plot is they end up in this.
You met him at the Improv, didn't you, Nutter? This guy here. You don't remember. Netter?
What?
This guy here, you met him at the Improv, didn't you?
Taylor Negron? Is that what you say? I don't...
No, not him.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider. Yeah. Okay.
Elvis on a Fishhook.
Elvis on a Fishhook. This guy was area rug guy. Right.
Yeah. Area rug.
But I was expecting this to be interesting because I mean the idea behind this, and I think Dan Aykroyd's idea is that there are always like these little areas in American society where you have these weird laws on the book, right?
Yes.
And they're run and like that don't make any sense, and what if they were really enforced, right? And
not only that, but you also have these very corrupt, local
judges and stuff. Yeah, and I guess that's who he is. Dan Aykroyd plays the honorable hold on, I'll find his name.
Well, fairly dishonorable in my opinion. But there he is.
Yeah, Alvin J.P. Valken here, the 106-year-old judge who runs Valkenvania. And Bobo, he also plays the severely deformed grandson of Alvin who lives in Valkenvania's salvage yard.
My understanding is that Dan Aykroyd had a lot of input
This is his baby.
Don't get me wrong. I love Dan Aykroyd, but he's a lot like David Lynch. If you don't have someone else kind of reining him in, you're going to get WTF every single damn time.
And I know people in the chat are probably looking to say this looks like a fun like Beetlejuice-esque comedy or something. This is like this dark comedy like made in the 80s, but it
is dark,
good,
and it does imply that it's a comedy, but there's no laughs to be had in this film.
No, like every joke, like not every joke. There are a couple jokes that land in this, but most of the jokes in this movie, it's like a thud, like like you see like a bunch of plastic dolphins slipping up around, like Chevy Chase says, "Oh, that's where Flipper ended up," and it's not funny. Like the way it just isn't funny. And then like Flipper died. It's just not funny. I know these
Not
lines are
only
meant to
that,
be
but
funny, but they're not.
look,
It's
if
just,
you did like this movie, you might like a movie that also almost made my list, Exit to Eden. Another terrible film. You know
but
that one.
it has a certain actress in it.
Oh God, no! Don't
Not
even
Rosie
mention
O'Donnell.
her.
I'm thinking of the other one. Okay. She played Lois Lane in Superman the Animated Series.
Oh no, I loved her. She was the
Yeah.
best part of the movie.
I don't like the Dana Delaney.
What is
Dana Delaney's in that, and you get to
Dana
see
Delaney.
a bit
I
of
love
you
Dana
get to see
Delaney.
a bit of Dana Delaney in that movie. Okay, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's probably the only reason to watch the movie.
Yes.
The fuck, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. What the hell is this?
It's so bad, and I have to give credit to Demi Moore for being able to keep a straight, just being able to act in these scenes, which I would be. It's like.
This is probably her worst film, absolutely.
I feel bad. And Digital
I don't even
Underground.
remember this.
Digital Underground show up in this. Remember Humpty? Remember that? The Humpty
I
dance?
do now.
They show that's Tupac in the Yankees shirt. Okay,
Yes, it is.
This they do a wonderful rap song in the middle of this movie, and then Dan Aykroyd gets on the and there's
That's
dancing,
right.
they're dancing fly girls in the background.
Damn sense in the film.
They're the best part of this movie, actually. It's like
you're right. You're not
and I'm
wrong.
thinking they're
yes.
wondering why are we in this movie? If they had made the movie about them being stuck in the situation, it might have been a better movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, John Candy and drag. This is so bad. As like the daughter,
and this face, totally sums up the movie. It's like, I can't believe I'm in this piece of shit film. I can't believe I did this.
How did this
getting
get
a paycheck?
made?
I'm getting a paycheck.
There's a lot of talent behind this movie, and it's a disaster.
It really is. Oh God,
nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble. Oh God. This was another one of those ones that I saw the screener and I had to tell my manager at the video store, I'm like, you can't not order one of these at least, because the cast is brilliant, but this movie sucks.
It's terrible. Okay, moving on to Troy's pick. This is your last pick of the night.
Oh God.
Mr. Gray, you'll
50
be waiting for you.
Shades of Gray.
Have you seen this?
I have.
Is it worth it?
Not by choice. Tell them the story.
I don't think I want to tell the story.
I did not see this movie, so he did not watch it with or for me.
Oh God,
this watch it terrible. With? Okay,
I did not watch it. I watched it because
Was this a Big Al movie night?
No. I have to admit to a crime here, so you guys can get me in trouble here. My mother.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is a terrible story.
Dude, I don't know if I want to hear
My mother
this.
read this series of books.
Okay.
The Gray series.
Yeah.
And when the movies came out, she wanted to see these movies, and I said, all right, if you this was back when Netflix was sending out DVDs physically and then you'd mail them back. So I said, you know what? And I put them on my Netflix list. I'm like, I'll get these movies, make you a copy and send them to you so you can watch them. Okay? When you make a copy of a film, you kind of have to watch it to make sure it encoded correctly. So I watched all of these horrible fucking movies.
For mom.
For my mom. That's the worst part. I'm making these movies for my mom. That's oh God.
So on one hand, it's really sweet he was doing something nice for his mom. On the other hand, it's like, Mom, really?
Oh dear Lord. Now, in fairness to my mother, she didn't like these movies either. But she didn't like these movies for the same reason we don't like so many movies that are based on book series that we love. It was not a good interpretation of
this book series,
the source material,
which I heard had started out as a Twilight fan fiction. just
bingo.
saying.
I was just getting to that
it brings
point
it around back to Twilight. Okay.
Because I didn't like Twilight. If I didn't like Twilight, I'm not gonna like the fucking ripoff, right? So I never read any of these books. All I know was the movies that I watched, right? And these movies were insipid. That is the only way I could describe them. They are stupid. The idea in the zeitgeist of the world, you say 50 Shades of Grey, people think, ooh, sexy, right? And
yeah,
sadomasochistic, with a romantic. I did not get that at all from this movie. I saw an abusive relationship and Stockholm Syndrome. That's all I saw.
Okay. I have a little bit of a confession to make, at least from seeing especially pictures of her on the red carpet for Madam Web. I'm a little smitten with Dakota Johnson, but I'm worried to watch these movies because I'm afraid they'll taint my image of her.
They absolutely will.
Okay.
Look, if you want to see Dakota Johnson's boobies, yeah, maybe check out this movie.
But maybe it's not worth it just because of all the.
But anything south of the border is CG. I kid you not.
What?
I kid you not. So there is a scene that I don't even remember, but I've read, the commentary on this. There's a scene where she's lying down and she's supposed to be full frontal, which means you see some bushy. And that's CG. Because apparently Dakota Johnson is Ken doll down there.
Okay.
And they wanted her to have,
oh my goodness.
Twisties. So there was a CG artist who had to go in and paint in freaking pubes on this actress. And I'm like, the hell is this movie?
Imagine second guessing your career choices for that job, huh? Oh my goodness.
I have nothing but respect for people that work in CG in these films because the conditions they have to work under, the deadlines that they have to do, it's just fucking ridiculous. The CG you see in these movies that you hate, that look ridiculous, don't blame the CG artist. Blame the producers and the directors who said you got 3 days to do this. Well, okay, you get basically money for nothing version of CG, if that's my limitation. But to draw pubes on an actress, guys, this movie is a clusterfuck. It really is. Do not watch this movie if you want to see boobies. If you want to see sexual content in films, there's much better movies out there. Go check out, I don't know, Eyes Wide Shut or something. Don't watch this.
Well, that's a good movie. That's actually, I would recommend that movie. That's a great
really
Stanley
good movie.
Kubrick movie.
Even if you edit out all the nudity, it's a good movie.
Well, apparently Warner Brothers had edited something out that got Cruise and people very angry that they edited Kubrick's work. This was back when AOL had taken them over, and I've never owned it on DVD because I can't.
Do you know what the scene was that they edited out?
It's an orgy. It's part of an orgy scene which they had to edit out, and I know that there's I think they later on did release an uncut version, but they don't say uncut on the box, so it's hard for you to figure out which one is the cut. And I just said,
gotcha.
You know what, screw this. I'm just not going to bother. That's what I said. But
look,
scroll down,
with Kubrick, leave
Kubrick stuff alone.
You just watch the movie the way he intended, and if you don't like the nudity, well, you shouldn't have been watching it in the first place. That's all I'm going to say.
Eyes Wide Shut was garbage.
GEEK. Well, Eyes Wide Shut was insipid. It was insipid.
To each your own.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to even say this.
Out there, that happens in real life. I'm sorry.
I am going to say. If you think there's anything titillating about this film, don't watch it. Go watch Eyes Wide Shut. That's the better option.
Okay, scroll down.
Now, don't get me wrong. She is a beautiful woman. I mean, look who her mother is. Okay, her mother is Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith and father Don Johnson. So she's got some good genes going on.
Yeah, but she's got her father's hair. That's all she's got. She's got her mother's
good hair.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, I'm not. I know. anyway,
Dakota Johnson is a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong, but again, so let's put all the sexy aside, right? Her acting in this was not the best. This was early in her career. She's developed as an actress since then, but this was not her best film.
In what?
I don't remember. I'm
Madam
drunk.
Web, because I heard that was terrible too.
I did not even see Madam Web. I did not even see.
She had a brief scene in Black Mass with Johnny Depp, but she was basically just playing his wife in that for a couple scenes.
So you see this still, and you think, oh, okay, this looks like a romantic film. No, this is not a romantic film. This is a film about power play, sadomasochism, and abuse is what this movie is about.
Okay.
I see what you're doing here, Booler. You want to get all the good pictures of Dakota Johnson.
Anyway,
I get it.
Moving on to my pick. Let's get this done. The last one of the night.
I would have added this to mine, except there was enough about this that I liked.
No.
That I couldn't say I hated it entirely. But you're right.
Nope.
It's not a good movie.
Nope.
This is definitely the worst of the Batman movies.
Yep.
You may have different reasons than I do, but let's get into it.
Okay. I was in a screenwriting class once, and the professor was talking about, the different character conflicts like man versus self, man versus nature. And he brings up, man versus man. Like for Superman, that would be Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor's he asked the class who's Superman's arch enemy, and we say Lex Luthor. And then he asked who's Batman's arch enemy, and some guy in the class says George Clooney, which I thought was funny. I'm sorry.
That's funny. That is so funny. Yeah, you could even give a pass to Val Kilmer, right?
Val Kilmer wasn't terrible as Bruce Wayne Batman. I mean, that movie had problems, but he wasn't a problem in it. In fact, I'll say this, it's almost a comedic version. In fact, that's almost like a live action version of the Batman we got on Batman the Brave and the Bold, because he's having to be serious in this kind of ridiculous, like 1950s Batman.
I will say this about George Clooney, though. I think George Clooney takes a bad rap because the movie was bad. He himself wasn't. He did the role. He was cast to play. Yeah. But you got to blame the writer, the director, the producer. This is not their fault.
It starts out okay. Him and Robin are getting into the Batmobile, and he says, "When do I get a car?" Chicks dig the car, and then Batman says, "This is why Superman works alone." And I thought that was a funny line. Okay,
that's a great line. Yeah,
that was a good line in this.
Which movie was it that I think it was the previous movie that talks about? Because the previous movie was Robin's origin story,
and there's the circus is going to Metropolis right now.
Yeah. The circus is halfway to Metropolis by now. I loved lines like that. That was well thought out. I really did like that. So yeah, I should just let you talk about this, and then I'll
scroll down. I don't even know what pictures I added to this thing. Okay, let's scroll down.
Well, wait. Let's stop.
Let's look at the main thing. I mean, this is the big cast. This is you got Arnold there as Mr.
Start with Arnold, because look, same thing in the first Superman movie, right? The villain gets the big, because the
big actor.
It was Marlon Brando, who had almost no role in the movie, and Gene Hackman, and they both had billing over Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, but they were good in that movie at least. So I'm sorry, I'm being mean.
No. I'm going to argue that Schwarzenegger was actually pretty good.
Nope.
Given what he had to work with, he played the role he was given. But and I will say this is another positive about Batman and Robin. What they did with Dr. Freeze. No,
Mr. Freeze.
This is what's ironic about this character.
Mr. Freeze,
he really is a doctor.
Yes.
But his character is Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
Whereas you have all these doctor villains that don't have any degree. Whatever. But anyway, Mr. Freeze, his entire storyline changed because of this movie.
Nope.
All the stuff about his wife and
that's from the animated series. It starts in Batman the Animated Series, and then it was taken for this movie. But that I know that
you're right. You're
well,
absolutely right.
I know you haven't gotten around to watching them yet, so you probably were unaware of this. But
and
yes,
I have them all on DVD. I do.
Yes, you can watch them whenever you want. But yeah, that was the issue. Was that it was actually a rather tragic story. He was trying to save his wife, and a horrible accident happens, and that's how he becomes this.
Which, let's face it, that makes this a
Yes.
great character. Definitely a better character than when he was in
Adam West.
Well, look, the previous live action version of this character was the Adam West series,
which was I watched clips from it. It's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. But this. He chews the scene. He's comical,
horrible one-liners. He keeps saying
bad
chill.
one-liners and puns. But the overall story is actually pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, this is the movie where he has the tear come down his eye and freeze.
Turns to snowflakes.
And it's like, wow, that's actually pretty good. If that had been the tone for the whole movie, this would have actually probably been a good movie.
Chris O'Donnell's back as Robin. The careers were damaged by this movie.
All of their careers were damaged by this movie.
No, some survived. Arnold was Arnold, so he could get through a bad movie.
But all the rest of them were hurt by this.
No,
absolutely.
George
Clooney, Silverstone, we'll get to her in a second. Uma Thurman, she was actually not a bad casting for Poison Ivy.
Quentin Tarantino saved her after this with Kill Bill.
No doubt. No doubt.
So
let's start right here. My big problem here is seeing Robin now still being called Robin in a pseudo Nightwing outfit.
Yep.
Okay, you know what my problem is with this picture?
What?
Both Batman and Robin have nipples.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get to the nipples. You're right.
Joel Schumacher's predilections. I'm just going to say maybe.
Absolutely. And I didn't realize that was the case until Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera, all the statues have nipples, and I'm like,
yep,
Joel Schumacher. Screw you, dude.
Yep. He has his.
Did your mother not breastfeed you or something? What is your obsession with nipples?
Anyway, this was just. I remember being in the movie theater with a friend.
You know, I actually had this costume at one time.
This version of the costume?
This version of the costume, yeah.
Wow. That might be collector's
item. And I was seriously considering painting the red blue and making it into Nightwing. But then a coworker of mine needed a Robin costume for a cosplay he was doing. And I'm like, here you go, buddy. If you want it, you can have it. You know?
Okay. Uma Thurman and Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy.
I feel bad for Uma Thurman in this. I think she's doing her
really
best.
Do too.
There is some. I've tried rewatching this because I remember years later I tried rewatching this and I had to keep breaking and not continue on because it was just so bad. There's this scene where they're having the I guess get a date with Poison Ivy or get a date with Bruce Wayne. It was some kind of was it a bachelor auction, I think, and then. No. She's up there for the auction, and then you have this Southern gentleman in the back, and I could swear he says, "I'll give 20,000 Yankee dollars," and I think he says that. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just my memory playing tricks. That there's some Colonel Sanders Southern in the back. Okay.
One thing that I will say about this, and you probably don't have a picture of it, is the origin story for Pamela Ivy.
Yeah.
Isley, I'm sorry, yeah.
The guy played Lionel Luthor knocks her into some chemicals. Remember that or something?
Yes, and that was an unfortunate waste of a character because he is basically
a great actor.
Woodrow something or other, the Floronic Man, another DC villain.
No,
kind of wasted in
they're saving him for the fifth one. Bane.
Oh God, this is not Bane. I'll be honest with you. As much as I don't like the last Christopher Nolan film, he at least understood the character of Bane and got him right.
Better than this. Yes.
This is not Bane. Bane is meant to be a steroid jacked up.
But he's intelligent. Bane is intelligent.
Of Batman, yes. He's supposed to be super intelligent. He's supposed to be kind of Moriarty with muscles.
Now, in the original
and this
comic,
is
I think he's
not
from
that.
He's from a country analogous to Cuba, I think, in the original comic. But in this,
right.
It's not Cuba. They didn't say it was Cuba. You could tell this was from Cuba. And
right.
he grew up in a prison. I read his origin story in the comic. It's a great origin story about basically how he
really is.
He was
honestly the third Christopher Nolan film actually does a pretty decent job.
I mean, they changed it a bit because obviously he's not Latino in that. He's like a Scotsman or something. Because
which honestly was a missed opportunity because I really wanted him to be. Look, you know, you want to get your DEI, placement and stuff, and you need to get your Latinos in there.
Yep.
Cast your Latinos as Latinos.
Samuel Procter says in the anime series he has a Cuban accent. Henry Silva plays him, and then later on Hector Elizondo plays his voice. Yeah, he had a few different voice actors playing him.
But whoops. Yeah,
I think that's it, though. You can scroll back up if you want to talk more about the movie, but that's Bane. Bane!
Oh,
that's all he would say. He would just
That was it? Okay.
That's my worst. That's my number 5. And the reason it's on here is, and I want to tell you a little story. I was in a bus station once, right, waiting for the bus. And the lady running the bus depot, because I got off a train, I was waiting for the bus. Batman and Robin's playing on the TV, and I'm like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" So I'm having to watch Batman and Robin. It finally ends. The lady comes out, ejects the videotape, puts another videotape in. Another movie starts. It's Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Oh God!
And I'm like, and then the bus shows up, and I was like, thank goodness, because I'd never seen Wild Wild West, but I have a suspicion that movie would have made it on this top 5 list if I'd never seen it.
Same here. I never saw the film. I never saw the film, but I probably would have hated it. No doubt.
But that's it. That's our own top 10. There are other awful movies. There are probably movies that are worse than these and more.
Even if I thought about it more, I might come up with others, and even maybe some that. Let me real quick, because it will take me just seconds. There was one dishonorable mention that very similar to Leonard Six that I couldn't remember any details about.
Okay.
One film that should have made this list, but I couldn't talk about it because I can't remember it. Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh.
Do you remember that movie?
I've actually seen it. That was a movie when it came out. I have to talk about this movie. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This
you probably remember it better than I do.
This was back when I was watching Ebert and Roper regularly because Gene Siskel had died, was replaced by the younger Richard Roper. And this was back in 2001. And there was another Hollywood writers' strike looming. And the studios, I believe at the time, were terrified of this writer's strike, and they were green lighting anything.
Oh, God.
And I figured they just greenlit a lot of these comedies, and
probably, yeah.
These comedies there were 2 notorious ones came out. One was Tomcats with Jerry O'Connell and Jake Busey. It was in that, and then you have Freddy Got Fingered with Tom Green. Yes. And who was his dad in this? Rip Torn was in this. Remember that?
I know, and that hurts the most because I love Rip Torn.
The guy was on the TV version of The Dead Zone. That actor was in all the John Hughes movies. He's in this in a scene. This is a completely awful movie. This made, I think, one of them made Richard Roper's worst movie of the year, and Tomcats made the other worst movie of the year for I think it was Roger Ebert. They both.
See, I don't remember Tomcats, but I also don't remember.
It's another awful comedy around the same ilk as this one. Yes. This was a horrible movie. Like, Roger Ebert was offended, and of course, this is where I got the line from earlier. I said, "Well, the worst thing a comedy can be is to be not funny."
Honestly,
and he was saying, Tom Green
that's exactly right. And Freddy Got Fingered was not funny, and I honestly figured given who was in it and the title, I'm like, this has got to be funny, right? No. It sucked. It just sucked. And I'm like, no. And honestly, was Tom Green in anything after that ever?
I don't know.
He just disappeared after
He was
that.
in some of the Charlie's Angels movies. I know he was married to Drew Barrymore for a while. It was just,
Really?
yes.
Oh, that poor girl.
Anyway,
She's all messed up in the head.
one day we'll have to cover the summer of 2001. The blockbusters we got that summer. That might be a future stream because I have to talk about how we were kind of on fumes at that point because of all these stupid strikes and of course I learned now from what somebody was saying was that, oh no, the reason these strikes get settled early, some they get settled early, others don't, because they know that the deadline's coming up a year ahead, so they start negotiating a year earlier. And I'm thinking, you mean you idiots could have been doing this ahead of time and avoided the strike altogether?
Exactly.
You could have been doing the negotiation. That's what the Directors Guild did. Yep. I'm just,
and then you wonder why Hollywood is in the situation it's in. Look, the fires that are happening this year, no. Their problems started before this, before COVID, before any of this. And honestly, I'm going to peg the labor unions, a big part of it.
Yeah, just part of it. Been a disaster. But yeah, 2001. People forget how bad a year 2001 was for movies, because at the end of it, you get Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and you get Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring, and that turned things around. Plus, it was after a certain event in September where people were reeling from, so things sort of get turned around at the end of the year. So people just forgot. But that was a weird summer blockbuster season. It was. We'll get into that on a future stream sometime.
We'll do that another night.
Yes. Okay, but
so yeah, coming up, I can't give you a date, but I am working on getting Michael French back to talk about James Bond Part 2.
James Bond.
And we'll get Greg back for talking about physical media again.
Yeah, see if there's a subject he wants to broach with us. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and so that's the show for tonight. Tomorrow night, of course, I mentioned it at the top of the show. Big Al presents Films with Friends, the Never Ending Story, film that I kind of love.
It's fine.
It's not a perfect film.
It's a quintessential 80s fantasy movie.
It really is. Yeah. It's not the kind of movie where I'm going to say, look, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. But it was a touchstone for those of us that grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Right. No, yeah. I remember it.
So that's tomorrow night. Of course, all the deleted scenes things that are happening, go back and watch his coming attractions from last night. But tomorrow at 8 Central, 9 East, Sunday, 8 Central, 9 Eastern, what are we going to be talking about on Geeky Geezers, Agent Boomer?
Well, on Sunday, I believe, Deleted Scenes graciously is going to be our guest to talk about the Oscar nominations. So I really do appreciate him.
And we had some really great films that aren't eligible for Oscars. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
new rules to
play. Hopefully, we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow on Sunday.
Yeah, Deleted Scenes is more of the expert on this. I used to be an Oscar kind of guy, though. I used to watch them when there were the 5 nominations. I used to keep abreast of all that. And now it's just
you don't have to. We got Deleted Scenes. He's our subject matter expert.
And we got some other things to talk about. Like it's going to be mainly Oscar focused, but we have some other stories. Like for instance, EA is not doing so hot after Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which was interesting how that was sort of being covered up months ago, how badly that game was doing by the press. But
look, guys, I'm just gonna throw this out there. It's a new year, and a lot of things are changing.
Yeah,
we have been talking about how DEI and the woke stuff in our entertainment is going away, but it takes a long time. A long ship with a tiny pin. But something happened recently, and there is a seismic shift. Something happened. I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to get a little blue band at the bottom of this video. But we all know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This has been if I had a political channel, if I talked about, news items and whatnot, This is a hell of a week. This has been a hell of a week.
It feels like every week is like that now. It's starting to drive me nuts. Well, I mean,
but so much of it has been positive.
That's true. That's true. I'm thinking personal life stuff anyway. Sorry.
Okay, I get you.
Talk to you about that later.
Monday
I got a story
night,
to tell you.
Monday night at the movies. I'm gonna do that for you guys. I'm gonna do the fan edit. So you guys got to tune in live. That's the only way you can watch it with me. Fan edit of Superman 3 and 4. It's called Superman Redeemed in one film, and it's actually way better than both films. It's definitely worth it. Community note on YouTube, deleted scenes. It's like every time you bring up Orange Man, they drop a blue note about the 2024 election or whatever. You guys are going by too fast. I can't keep up with you. I was told that my last stream by one of my old liberal friends that I was pandering to Trump supporters. I told them if they didn't like that, maybe they should come on my chat, and maybe they should. Wait a minute, there's more. Watch my stuff to see my stance. See why my chances changed. Fair enough. Excellent. Yeah, no, I haven't either. Which tells me my channel's probably too small. So make sure you guys share this out.
Yep.
If you really want to support the channel, buy a membership for somebody else, because that brings people to the channel, and that's probably the best way to grow a channel. I just learned that recently. So.
And don't you have an option to gift memberships yourself?
Yes, I did. I do, and I gifted 5 last week, and I will probably do more next week. And then my ability to do that will refresh the following week. But gift memberships are probably the best way to grow a channel. If you like a channel and you want it to grow, be like Ruby Hoove. Go and buy gift memberships for people.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
if you are not a member, you might actually be a lucky recipient of one of those gift memberships.
Never know.
Troy won't let me be a member of his channel, so
well, I don't want her spending money to give to YouTube just to be a member of my channel.
But Ruby Hoove had gifted a membership that I had gotten, so for 1 month I was a member.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
So there you go. So that's Monday. Of course, Tuesday, live from Sparkwood 21, Blake 7. Thursday, Netters Network. We don't have a guest, so we'll see what happens.
I'm looking for guests for upcoming shows, so if
folks, those of you trying to build your channel, even if you've been on before, let's get you on.
As long as it's been a couple of months, if you've been on before, as long as it's been a couple of months,
shoot her a note.
Have you on again.
We need updates on your channels.
Yeah, happy to do updates with you. If you haven't been on Thursday Things and you're trying to grow your channel, let me know.
There you go.
I am on Twitter. You can DM me. I'm the only Netters network out there.
There you go, guys. Together we grow. Boomer, do we have any thoughts about what we'll do next week?
Not yet, but I'm sure we'll think of something.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't help to share with me right now because I won't remember tomorrow. I'm not joking, guys. When I've been drinking on a stream, I don't remember the details the following day.
We should probably do a drink-related stream sometime. Maybe famous bar stories or something.
Actually, that's what Netter has said, too. I really need to do a bar-related topic. Something.
We'll have to think about that, yeah.
But this is the element of you being the designated driver. Because tomorrow or the day after, you'll be like, okay, let me remind you what we got to look forward to. This is what we talked about last week.
Did you see that Deleted Scenes gifted a membership?
I just brought it up. Yep. Deleted Scenes gifted 1. Nice. Last Call membership 2. Nice. I don't think it could have gone to a better person. DJ Ronnie G, who is a frequent follower of Deleted Scenes. So I think it's great that he got that. I will have to add him to the closing credits, at least for the next month. unless, of course, he renews. That's the other thing, folks. If you are gifted a membership, remember that's for 1 month. If you want to keep supporting me, you gotta re-up that yourself. But I thank you so much for that deleted scenes, and hopefully that pulls DJ Ronnie G back into the fold. That's all I got for tonight. I think I've harped enough on bad movies. What do you think, Agent Boomer? Did I miss anything?
Nah, I think we pretty much covered it. We could always broach this topic again someday. We'll see.
We absolutely, maybe we should think about sometime in the future talking about more recent stuff. And there's plenty of bad stuff to talk
We could
about.
do it from the turn of. You know what we could do? We could do it from the turn of the century, because I don't think any. Oh wait, no, you did too from the turn of the century. You did Twilight in that. We'll figure it out. Maybe from the last 10 years. Maybe from the last.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, Netter, any last thoughts, and then take us out.
Well, as mentioned before, I am looking for guests for Thursday things. DM me on Twitter. Let me know what day you'd like. The only days that are not available is February 6th. That's the only day right now that is not available. So if you are interested, any day but the 6th, let me know, and we'll get you a slot. Just tell me what day you'd prefer, or I'm sorry, which Thursday you'd prefer, because that's the only day I do it on. And let's see what we could do for you.
Absolutely.
Do you want me to take us out?
Take us out. Well, save that for Valentine's Day. The Valentine's Day Massacre.
Well, y'all know what I always say. We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it's so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you drop in the comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. Feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company, passing the popcorn, and having a great time. And you guys, you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. And you can be anywhere right now, and you're here listening to this junk bastard.
Yeah, right? They like laughing at my drunk ass.
But seriously, it's like we do these shows for you. And, I'm actually floored that people actually like what we do, and you keep coming back. So thank you for that. And thank you for the many, many ways that you support us. Whether it's the thumbs up, a comment in the chat, sharing out the stream, memberships, super chats, super stickers, whatever it may be, it's so appreciated. Because every little bit that you do to support us helps us to put out better content for you. So thank you for that. And speaking of content, I did drop a new video. Sock organization.
Check that out. Well, she's trying to get me to organize my socks for.
Yeah, I'll probably end up doing it for you. But
look. I keep mine simple, right? I have all the same socks, right? I've got 25 pair of the same sock. I don't have to sort them, pair them up. I just have a stack of one kind of sock, and I just take the next two.
And that you shove into your drawer.
And I just shove them into the drawer,
They're like little balls. Some of them get behind the drawer.
Well, sometimes, that she's right. That can be a problem,
And the organizer that I use, it's not just for socks. You can use it for underwear. You can use it for jewelry if you're a woman, or if you're a guy that uses a lot of jewelry. Because it's all individual compartments, so you can put anything you like in there. And so I talk about that a little bit in the video too. But check it out. If you are looking for something to organize, small things like socks, underwear, could be anything, jewelry, whatever, toiletries, watch the video, drop a comment. I'd love to know what you guys think of it. And with that said, I am looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow night over on Big Al's channel for, what was the movie again?
The Never Ending Story.
which never ends. It just keeps going and going and going.
And I have a different take on the title. I think it's very interesting. So we'll talk about that too.
Yes, but until then, good night and God bless.
So Mark Dahley asks, quick question, would you be interested in a channel with a Q&A on property insurance issues?
Oh, yes, definitely.
That could be I know it doesn't sound like it would be interesting, but I think that could be very... No,
I think that is interesting, especially with what's going on in California right now.
That's what I was getting at. That could be very topical.
Companies had dropped insurance for people like just before the fires broke out, which I think is really sus.
And definitely,
Mark, if you are an expert in the field of insurance, DM me on Twitter. I want to book you to talk about this.
Absolutely. And definitely check out Netters Network, the last live stream from last night.
Yeah.
Our guest talking about
Mike
Netter talking about the fires and the political situation in California and whatnot. You might find that very, very interesting. We need Netters Network home organized. Yeah. She I wish she had more time to put out more videos, but the ones she's put out are good ones. They're really, really worth checking out.
I've got a bunch I just need to edit. I just hadn't had time because life. But I'm trying to put aside at least one day a week so I can try and edit.
Mark, even if you don't have content on your channel that you're trying to promote, I think it might be fun to get you on Thursday things. I'd love to talk with you. I used to work, I worked for an insurance company. I didn't work as a claims adjuster or anything like that, but I got to know a lot of the claims adjusters, and we probably have chewed some of the same ground that we could probably find some interesting middle ground on. So make sure you hook up with Netter and send her a DM. And let's see
I just dropped my Twitter handle in the chat. Mark, DM me. Let's talk. I'd love to have you on.
Absolutely. That'd be a lot of fun. I think it would be a good idea.
And since we are property owners ourselves, it's going to be a good topic.
Absolutely. So that is that. What is it? BJ always says, together we grow, right?
Yep.
You guys are just fabulous, helping us grow our channels, and we want to do the same for you. We want to make sure that your channels grow, assuming you have channels you want to grow. But I do think that even if you don't, sometimes getting you on just to talk about some of the things you got going on might actually be a whole lot of fun. Definitely worth it. So I want to thank all of you guys for everything that you do to support us. You guys are absolutely wonderful. You're good for our egos. I mean, Netter talks about, we could talk amongst ourselves, and honestly, I could, but the idea that there's people that are actually interested in the bull crap that's coming out of my mouth, I love that, guys. You guys are so encouraging. Like Netter feeding the squirrels. You keep supporting us. We'll keep coming back. Thank you guys so much. You guys take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.
The neon lights are fading, closing time is near. Whispers in the corners, secrets shared sincere. The bartender's polishing the final glass. Time slips away like moving through the grass. Last call for alcohol, make your dreams come true. One more round, friends, from me and you. Let's toast to the night, to the stories we've spun. Here's to the laughter and to what's begun. The shadows are dancing as we memory to distill. Beneath this smoky haze, our feelings they unfurl. A tapestry of whispers in this corner of the world. The jukebox serenades us with a final tune, crooning to the lonely and the lovers under the moon. With every soft note, the end draws ever near. But in this fleeting moment, there's nothing to fear. Last call for alcohol, make your dreams come true. One more round, friends, for me and you.